Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBox TV's podcast 336. Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V here in our glorious, toasty, warm Milwaukee studios here tonight.
Yeah, my wife was down here earlier tonight doing a call. She wanted to be away from the kids, and so she opened up the heating vent down here, which normally I don't open up until I get down here. So it's been open for about 2 to 3 hours. So it's nice and toasty in the basement studio, where it's not toasty outside. We're looking at negative weather outside.
Yeah, not exactly enjoyable out there at the moment. I saw some barricades up. Where I was out of town for the weekend for a few days. So, but I thought I saw that there was some broken water mains around the Milwaukee area that caused some major chaos. Was that part on your road? Not so much.
If so, I haven't heard anything.
I would think you would know.
I would think I would
it
know.
Seems pretty major.
A frozen or broken water main right in front of my house.
Yeah, there's a bunch of no parking signs, temporary no parking signs up in front of your house.
Sunday, I think they put those up for some reason, and I don't know if it's just because it's a snow emergency of some sort that they just want to mark that, but they look like there were some specific markings, and I didn't bother finding out. So
what I do want to find out is on my way here, and we're going to sidetrack for just a moment.
You picked somebody up. You just randomly.
No, although tonight, again, another great night for it. Like last night when I finally pulled into my house, I think it was -6 outside, so it's definitely chilly out.
Because where were you coming from?
I came back from North Carolina, where it was not -6, but I came back from North Carolina. We'll get to that in a moment. But on my way here, on the interstate, 6 all but floored cop cars or sheriff go past me. A string of 4, lights on, sirens. Couple moments later, 2 more, and then as I continue down I-94 coming eastbound, another one enters near Gerke's Corners, also jumps on the interstate. Something major happened 90 minutes ago. I'd love to know what it is. I have not done the research yet here to do the Googles, but something pretty serious must have been going on to see so many cars just flying down the interstate. So many squad cars, lights, sirens, all that stuff. Yeah, something went on. I don't know. We'll have to look into it. We'll get back. We'll report back here. Breaking news. In other news, we're going to have Paige Pierce. I think she's going to be joining us in just a little while. We'll catch up with her and see what she's got going on. And also, I guess there's not a ton of events and results going on throughout the weekend, but I do have to give a quick shout out. It worked out kind of in some pretty last-minute fashion on my behalf. I've been kind of riding this whole getting fresh, new 2021 content train, and put in a lot of work for a few weekends out in Arizona. I had a really good time, of course, at Shelley Sharp and Maricopa. And then this weekend found myself down on the southern side of Charlotte. And apparently I was arriving to town with some of the other big dogs that were already there.
I heard Brody was in town there. I think Macbeth showed up this weekend?
Macbeth, and Pierce were all in town. And I think they were
really?
just about, they were.
I thought Pierce was over in
Arizona. She was there the next day.
Oh,
we're the fact that we can pin her down to even talk to her tonight, I think, is incredible. She'll probably be on a plane or a jet of hers, but yeah. So I believe they were in town. I know they were doing some filming of a couple items along with. As Yuli mentioned here a few weeks ago when we talked to him, I think they were working on his scratch to scratch. I was going to call it a program. Series. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Working on that.
Would you call that reality TV? I mean, it kind of fits that genre, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not scripted in any way or any. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like, but then it's take it. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like reality. I don't know what defines reality TV anymore. That's the real question.
It's really tough. Real quick question. I want to kind of answer this right away. Diggin' DG asks if there's been any updates on the Patreon discs. There has. The artwork is sent out. It was sent to Terry, and then Terry has, I believe, forwarded it on to the disc manufacturer that we are going to be using.
Do we want to tell them
who?
Let's save it. I secured it today.
You secured it today. Excellent. And let me just say, it's difficult, guys. I mean, we all know disc manufacturing right now it's behind. They are picking and choosing what a lot of these places are fulfilling. So, but yes, it has been pushed out to the manufacturer. We did wait a little bit longer this year because we've known that some of the issues that these guys have had. But they should be hopefully getting to us.
I don't know if I can even give a date yet, but the good news is I had a one-on-one conversation with somebody at a major disc golf manufacturing plant today, and as you said, the artwork, I forwarded it on immediately with our conversation, and they said they should be able to jump on it for us and help us out. So
that's great.
Now, I again didn't get an exact deadline for it. I think it's going to be sooner than later, so that they can, so to speak, check it off the plate.
And for those of you out there, I don't know if you've gotten them yet. If you have, mention it in the board. Our $10 supporters for patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. You should have got your knit cap pretty soon.
Dang.
Your winter cap with the Smashbox logo on it. I did not get one myself. I didn't order one. It just kind of pushed them out to all of our supporters at the $10 level. So if you got one, post a picture of it on social media. Miles, I believe, said they went out. Maybe it was on Friday. It could have been first thing Monday. I know we were talking about it. So it's just let us know.
I'd like to see it, people.
So would
Post
I.
one.
So would
Post
I.
one. Get them out there. So, so that was going on. I got into town, and then Sunday there was the C tier was taking place. The guys over at Scorpion were putting on an event. They're very ambitiously had told me. I mainly worked with Devin. Very ambitiously said they're looking to run approximately 30 events this year. Probably a lot of them will be C tiers. And then when you talk to, like, I talked to Yuli at lunch and talked to David Weaver, another stand-up gentleman there who's working on a course as well. I think 30 C tiers, and then it all, like, the light bulb goes off when he says, yeah, I mean, our club is 700 people.
Jeez.
And I think how incredible that is. And I know we've talked that conversation more than once about, like, disc golf meccas and clubs and organizations. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Charlotte, tops the list in so many different ways. So very cool to see. It sounds like they always have courses that they're being worked on or in development stages. David was telling me that him and a whole slew of people were out working on a course all day on Saturday, and so that may or may not have affected some of his play on Sunday. We'll give him that, but it sounds like there's a lot of good things going on. So if you ever get the opportunity, make sure you check out some Charlotte disc golf. I will quickly throw out there, first round, I got to the course and Yuli and I had brief conversations before getting there, but when we step onto hole one and he's like, this is arguably the hardest course in Charlotte. Why are you filming this one? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't realize that was the case. It is called the Angry Beaver. It is the second course at the park. This was at Elon Park on the south side of Charlotte. And I think the Eager Beaver has been there for many years, and I could be wrong on that, but I think that course has been around forever. And then they added the Angry Beaver, which is very much the bigger, nastier, angrier brother or cousin to the other beaver. And it's no joke. And maybe if you're out on the chat board or if you can chime in, we'd love to know what you think. But that course is absolutely no joke. And so we got that round filmed. The lead card shuffled itself out and then went out and got the lead card for second round. All of the footage is edited. And I'm just waiting on Yuli. And we'll knock out some commentary. You guys may have some fresh content maybe as early as tomorrow night, depending on Yuli's schedule. So look for that.
Shout out to Jimbo Slice. Thanks for the $5 super chat. It is much appreciated. And earlier, I don't know if we mentioned it, but Chris Carpenter hit us up with a $5 super chat. So thank you very much, guys. All that is extremely appreciated.
Yes, thank you. I've reached out to Paige. I don't know if she's out there listening right now, but Paige, if you are ready, we are ready. You can hit us up, hit up our digits on the Skype, I think is what the kids say still.
Last chatted about 5 months ago. We haven't had her on the show in 5 months.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of makes sense. She's been out all sorts of places doing, living life outside of, during the off season and whatnot. I know we'll get into that a little bit more, but she's been out doing a lot of other things. And wow, I guess 5 months sounds about right then. All right. Well, Paige, we're ready when you are.
This past weekend, I took some time to start getting the shows prepped for our upcoming live broadcasts in the Disc Golf Network. Sat down here in front of these computers and was just basically figuring and working out some things, making sure that we've got the graphics PC set up, we've got the switching PC set up. I've got a bunch of new graphics that we're going to be displaying, hopefully, come the All-Star weekend. Dustin Giuliano is our DGPT graphics guy. I think that's his official title, graphics guy. Graphics guy. That's on his card now. But yeah, so he sent a bunch of them. So I took some time and updated them. I'm really excited because some of these graphics look great. UDisc is importing them into their system so that we can all these stats update live. And I'm really excited for the upcoming look and feel of the show.
Awesome. Well, we are just a couple weeks out, of course, and we'll talk to her about it in a moment as we see her all almost ready to go. She wants to rotate her camera.
If she can. If she can't, that's fine. Yeah.
It should autofill for us, and we'll talk about All-Star Weekend that's not far away. I know she's been out there practicing for it and getting ready to kick off the 2021 season. So, Johnny, if you're ready, it looks like we are going to bring in none other than Paige Pierce. Hey, Paige.
Hello, how's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I wish I was still in Hawaii, I have to say, but Arizona it's all right.
It's all right this time of year.
If you're going to transition, right? If you're going to be in Hawaii and you're going to transition back to the lower 48, Arizona is a pretty good it's a pretty good place to stop.
Yeah, it's quite a bit different though. Like immediately when I landed, I was like so dry because it's just so humid in Hawaii and everything's so lush and green and just then you get here and it's just absolutely complete opposite. Dry as can be, no green anywhere. And also I'll have to tell you guys, I had like a little bit of a breakdown the first day back. I was just like easily irritated and just like overall just annoyed, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And Alyssa kept asking me, what's wrong? What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Like, I don't feel like anything's wrong, but somehow like I'm just pissed off basically. And then I realized like it was the cars. It was just like hearing the sounds of traffic just going by. And I was on the phone with my friend and a motorcycle drove by and she couldn't hear me. And I was like, sorry about the motorcycle. And then I started realizing like the last 2 months when I was on the phone, everyone was like, oh my gosh, those birds sound nice. Oh, it's so. And so then I realized like, wow, subconsciously all these noises of the city and the people and the chaos is like just bringing my levels way too high. And so I had a little bit of a breakdown, but I'm starting to get back used to it and realizing, this is where my work is and I love my job. So I'm becoming more at peace with it.
Yeah, not everywhere is as serene and peaceful and lush and just all around amazing as Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, I kind of talked about it in the intro. You actually made like a 12 or 18-hour pit stop. When you came back, you went right to Charlotte or no?
No, I actually came straight to Arizona.
Okay.
This is where my van was. And Yuli had reached out to me while I was in Hawaii and asked if I could come up there for a project he had going on February 5th. And I landed back here February 2nd. So I had 2 days here and then, flew there for 24 hours and flew back. It was a lot of fun. And actually, I think the videos will be going up tomorrow. Don't quote me. But he just messaged me actually right before this and said, did you hear about why or like Yuli's new series or anything?
Yeah. We had him on a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I think we had Yuli on to talk about it.
Cool. Yeah. So we are going to be in the season finale, which that's not going to be, they don't know how long that's going to be. It's like a whole production crew. It's crazy. There was like 7 different cameramen and an audio guy. It was a really cool production level. So no telling how long the editing's going to take on that, and for them to get it exactly how they want it. But we filmed another video while we were there. We decided to do a doubles match, me and Macbeth versus Yuli and Brody. And the front nine's going to be on Yuli's channel and the back nine's going to be on my channel. And Yuli was saying that he thinks his editor will have it done by tomorrow night. So I think I'll put mine out then right after.
Awesome. Yeah. So I saw, and I was just coming into town. It kind of worked out as a last minute ordeal. And so I saw all of you guys posting, and then Yuli actually said to me, man, I'm exhausted. I don't even want to play on Sunday, because he had been working on all this stuff. And he's like, I don't really want to play, but since you're here, I'm going to play. I'm not going to withdraw.
How sweet.
I'm like, oh, thanks. So him and MJ, along with, I don't know, I think the division was 18 or 20 other guys or so. But it was a lot of fun to go check out the action, see the Angry Beaver and the Eager Beaver courses over there in Elon. It was, it was pretty intense. And I think he said he played the Angry Beaver with Brody like the day before, 2 days before. And like, that course is no joke. Have you ever played there?
No, but they were both talking about it. And no, my dad played there when Worlds was in Charlotte. It was a combined Worlds Am Pro. Yep. And actually my dad played it in Advanced Masters. His division played it. And he was saying like, it is crazy. And that's kind of what Yuli and Brody were saying, just how tough it is. Toughest course in Charlotte, very tight, and I bet it was a fun battle to watch. Who ended up winning?
Oh, you're gonna have to tune in a couple. No,
it's not out yet.
No. It's okay. Fine. No, it'll be out in the next couple days.
Spoil it.
Okay.
You don't have to spoil it.
All right.
No, the question is, what is she trying to spoil? The battle that Yuli and Brody had, or the tournament?
Yeah, the tournament results. I haven't. I haven't released that yet. I'm just waiting on Yuli, actually. We're going to sit down and do commentary, because I've got all of round 1 and all of round 2 edited and put together, and hopefully we'll start even knocking that out tomorrow. So, and people can go find it on the PDJ. But yeah, we'll hold off. We'll keep it quiet. Importantly, though, so you head back then to Arizona. That's where your van was. And then I think Sunday, the very next day, you're out goofing around and practicing with Wysocki. Is that what I saw?
Yeah. I've been going nonstop, actually. It's hard for me to keep track. But I think it was the next day.
Sunday you flew back, because I think Paul was talking about maybe you getting an Uber or not to the airport. So I think you flew back west on Sunday. That was the Super Bowl day. So it was either Sunday or Monday where you went out and played in Arizona. I don't know.
Yeah, so Sunday I got back, and I'm pretty much living at Fountain Hills.
Okay.
I'm here right now, actually. I can show you the fountain if you want. Actually, what time is it? Is the fountain still going on?
It'll go. No, probably just ended.
Oh, sorry.
If you're on in 40 minutes, then we want to see it.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I pretty much am living here currently. The park's open till 11 p.m. So I just kind of have the van parked right by hole 1, and our layout is a 9-hole loop. So it only takes like an hour to play. So I'll just like go play a 9 and come back, have some tea, go play another 9, make a salad, play another 9. And so, Sunday I played, and then I messaged Rick and asked if he wanted to play the next morning. And so we played around, we started at 9 and we finished at 9:43. Wow. I don't know if you guys can tell on the viewers, not Terry, I know you know this, but I don't know if you viewers realize how fast Ricky is on the disc golf course, but it is crazy. And it's not like he's just mad or like he's shooting well, so he's going fast. He's just such a fast human being. And so we finished in 43 minutes, and he's like, "You want to run it back?" And I'm like, "All right, sure." And I was just like, "Hey, you want to film this one?" And so we ended up filming it. My audio was terrible because it was just so impromptu, and like he wasn't waiting for me. Like,
Yeah,
I
no,
missed it first.
no.
Yes, he was not waiting
You
for me.
you would think now with Ricky being the YouTube star that he has become that he would be
No.
a little bit more
No chill in that guy.
No chill
He's
in
just
him.
up and ready to throw.
No. He was waiting, and he knows. Like, he was like, okay, are you filming? Like, are you ready? But I mean, like, to get off of hole one, especially because there was 2 other cards on hole one, like, waiting for us. So yeah, we didn't want to get in a
Sure.
you know. But anyway, so yeah, we filmed the second round. I think we started at like 10 and yeah, finished by like 11 or something. And then we went out to lunch. Rick's like living here now, so he showed me his favorite new spot. And yeah, we actually ended up sitting there talking till like 1:30, just chatting. Rick's like teaching me a lot about nutrition, and he's really passionate about it, so it's nice to hear when someone's passionate about anything. It's nice to just like take that in and learn something. And then yeah, I edited it that day and actually uploaded it. So
damn, look at you.
Yeah, I wanted it to be like, I'm sure that everyone's getting excited for the season and wondering what this All-Stars layout looks like. I know that a lot of people have heard that it's a safari layout at Fountain Hills. So yeah, just wanted to kind of like show everyone what it's going to be like and try to get everyone hyped for the event. And actually, the video is kind of incorrect if you've seen it, because we got an updated email today from Jeff Spring that the format's changing. So it's not going to be match play anymore. It is going to be, this is kind of confusing.
Let me buckle in.
Yeah. So it's going to be doubles for the first 2 laps. So still 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. So now instead of facing off against Heather Young, I'm going to be her partner, and it's doubles. So we play 1 lap of best shot and another lap of worst shot. And then we both take that score. So say we shoot 50. Heather and I both get 50. And then the other card, Missy and Haley, they get a 49. Then that next day on Saturday, we play singles, and it's just normal singles. And we take our previous day's score and combine it with the second day's score. So yeah, a little bit different than anything else I've ever done like that. And just, yeah, a new format all of a sudden. So luckily it doesn't change the course. So these like 6 rounds that I've already played here doesn't matter. But yeah, it's a whole new format, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to be partners with Heather Young.
I was just going to say, first question is, what do you think of the format?
It's not what I was hoping for.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I do think it's going to be fun, but I don't think that that's what the public wants. And I don't think that that's what the players want. Or some of the players.
Yeah, if you're an 8 seed, you might want that.
Getting paired up with the 1 seed,
yeah.
Maybe.
True. But I mean,
maybe there's some gamesmanship. If you're the 1 seed, you could throw a few strokes knowing that you're going to make them up on the next round. And be like, maybe I just won't hit this putt.
No.
I know.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like it's the playoffs, right? It's the best 8 of the year. It's the best 8 men, the best 8 women. We've already made it this far. Everyone makes money just for coming. And, it doesn't go on our rating. It doesn't go on our ranking. None of those things. So I think that it should be like the highlight of those 8 players. And you don't want to see Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady like strategizing and formulating plans together. You want to see the 2 greatest face off in the playoffs, like, and one wins and one loses. One gets the ring, one's crying on the sideline. I think that people want that drama, and that's why I play disc golf. Those emotions that come with winning and losing, like, it's just nice to feel those feelings. And I think if I'm playing doubles, I'm going to have a great time. I'm going to be laughing a lot and playing with my friends, but it's not going to be that like competitive drive that I think that we were anticipating, especially leading into the season.
And I was gonna say, I don't necessarily, I can understand where everyone's coming from, and this being labeled like an all-star weekend, I can kind of understand a little bit more fun, more relaxed. Look at every other all-star game for any other sport. I would have honestly rather seen match play, but I would rather see one day of like competition and a second day of like a skills challenge. Because you guys,
something like that.
You guys never, and I don't blame you, when Worlds happens and there's, as Clem always called them, the reindeer games, you guys will do distance, but rarely do we see most of the top pros doing the putting or the edge challenge. I mean, just that's the type of stuff I think would be fun. Set up a bunch of skills challenge shots for the second day and film that, and maybe distance, but again, that's a Worlds thing, I think. But set up some cool stuff like that. Because if it is an all-star game where your goal is to kind of...
Yeah, it's all about the fanfare and showing off skills, but yet having a good time. I think of how the NFL, has all the different punt, pass, kick type, activities and all those other fun things. There could have been a way to incorporate that. So I guess I'll go back to
year one. So
one of my questions, exactly, and everything's got to get tried out. But would you originally thought it was going to be match play, and would your top pick be match play still, or was there even a different format that you would love to see if it were up to you?
I think match play would be really exciting, especially leading into a season. My example was, so Paul McBeth, the 1 seed, and the 8 seed Garrett Gurthey. There's people that are hardcore McBeth fans. They want to cheer on the greatest of all time, whatever. There's also fans that love Garrett Gurthey and they just know him because he's a small town hero, and he's obviously really skilled, but like what do they call it, like a underdog.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's going to be those people that are like, oh, I'm sick of Paul McBeth winning, like I'm rooting for Garrett. And you're going to have people out on casual rounds on the weekend with 5 of their friends, and they're going to be talking about it like, oh, who do you got? I got Garrett, I got Paul. And then it's going to be like this thing where it's like, oh, Calvin's my favorite player and he started the year off strong, we got to keep our eyes on him. And now it doesn't have that vibe anymore at all.
Sure.
It's so I don't really think that I care or gave it too much thought, just because ever since they announced it, it was always supposed to be match play. So that was just kind of in my head what it was going to be. Another format, I don't know. I just want competition.
Well, that you'll have.
I think, again, going back to like the skills challenge, you could give points based on your skills challenge. You could do a round and get, rather than, if you win by 4 strokes, maybe whoever gets the best score gets 3 points or something, and then just keep a point tally as opposed to a score tally. And just challenge, have a putting competition, a unique one, put up a bunch of targets, or 50 feet away, or you have to split, have a
accuracy
can jam, something like that, like a can jam type of
nice.
With discs. You put them up 50 feet away, see if you can hit the tiny slot, and stuff like that. I would like to see something completely unique, other than strict kind of stroke play.
It could almost be like an overalls vibe.
Yeah. We are doing a so it's on the 20th and 21st. We are doing on the 19th, we're having like a media day, and they're going to be filming like random stuff. I don't know exactly what, but I think they're trying to brainstorm some fun things, some fun videos, some interviews, all kinds of stuff they can use throughout the year and leading up to it. But since you guys are so interested in this, in the like skill shot, putting, driving, you should go out to Worlds and film those.
It's funny because there's the last couple of years I have put a little time into. Usually I'm the one guy that always gets the at least one of the doubles rounds, because I enjoy it, obviously, and you aced in Kansas the doubles. Last year it was a couple years ago. A couple years ago. I got a few of the people at the putting at putting. I think it was like George Smith and Anthon and Barsby. I think I released a video of them doing the putting stations.
Yeah,
You've planted your GoPro at the distance competition in the past.
Yeah, last year I also got a little bit of the distance competition. So those are all things that I could see getting more of in future years for sure, because there's more interest that's been generated in those. So I totally agree with you. I think that's an opportunity. This is a minor point that could be major. The worst shot. That's a modified worst shot, meaning once it's in, or is it 100% true worst shot? Do you know?
I would assume it's going to be modified.
Modified, okay. And that's a minor clarification, but...
Yeah, like I said, we just heard this today. So I'm not fully sure yet.
Okay.
No, I don't know if they're fully sure on that either.
Sure. And it's minor. Yeah. It's a couple weeks away. And for anyone that maybe isn't familiar with it, when you play what's called true worst shot, that's where both players have to make the disc into the basket. When it's going to be doubles, you and another set of players play, and then the opposing team that you're with gets to choose which shot they feel like is worse, and then your team has to play from there, and you continue to play it out until you get both in. Modified worst shot just simply means that once the disc gets into the basket by either team member, then the hole is complete. So for anyone, I know we have newer viewers.
So let's stop talking about the All-Star Weekend. That's coming up in a few weekends.
We don't know any of those details anyway, clearly.
Let's talk about what you've been doing in the off-season, your time in Hawaii. I've seen you upload videos. You've been doing, how did you end up in Hawaii? I think 5 months ago we talked to you, and you were kind of like, I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know where I was going. I knew that I wanted to get somewhere and recharge, and I don't have a home besides the van. So yeah, I wanted to kind of just be somewhere where I could reset and find some balance. You know, we move so fast on the road, and it's just it's hard to stay at that pace. And so I wanted to go somewhere that I could slow down and kind of like what I was saying, I wanted to get away from the chaos and all that noise, and somewhere where I didn't have phone service all the time. And I'm like, well, what island can I go to? I love island life. It's the best. And yeah, with COVID, it kind of restricted a lot of options, and Hawaii was still open, and it was still in the States. And yeah, it seemed I hadn't been there yet. And a lot of people were like, oh, did you know someone there? And that was the point. I didn't know anybody there, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to even talk about disc golf unless I wanted to. I wanted to meet new people where I wasn't Paige Pierce, you know? I just wanted to be a human being, and I don't care what I shot that one time. I don't want to sign your disc. I don't want to take a photo. Let me just be a human being and figure out what I even like to talk about. I kind of realized that for the last decade and a half, most every conversation that I've had has some way come to disc golf, or that's been the entire conversation. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to get to know myself, which sounds crazy. I'm almost 30 years old, but I think a lot of us have this feeling that being alone is scary, or we just constantly are distracting ourselves with these movies and just entertainment. We're just trying to entertain ourselves instead of just sitting with ourselves and hearing what's going on in our brain and taking care of our mental state. And I think that plays a huge part in disc golf. So I thought that it would be good to kind of clear my mind and figure some things out. And anyway, like I said, Hawaii just kind of came to me, and I started researching all kinds of places in Hawaii. Which island did I want to go to? Because that was a whole other thing, you know. There's lots of different islands, and I didn't want to go to Oahu at all, because that's kind of is that chaotic city. Honolulu's there, and it's just a big metropolis, basically. So I didn't want to go there. So that left Kauai and Maui and the Big Island. And Kauai had a really strict quarantine. You had to quarantine in place for 14 days, no exceptions. And even if you got 2 negative tests, because they don't have a hospital on the island. So they had to be really strict about it. So that pretty much left Maui and the Big Island. And when I was looking for lodging, the Big Island just seemed better is for me, because I was looking for like a little cottage or a house, something with a view of the water, away from neighbors. And Maui was mostly like resorts and condos and stuff like that. So it just led me to the Big Island, and I'm glad that's where I ended up. It was, like I said, an island, so you got the island vibe, but it was big enough to where you don't feel secluded. And yeah, it was perfect. We don't have enough time to talk about all the great things.
So you went there, and what did you find out about yourself? What do you like outside of the disc golf? Like, what do you enjoy talking about? What did you find that's new for Paige Pierce?
Yeah, I think that I just barely scratched the surface. So I'm excited, but I'm excited that I kind of found some interest in myself, and where I think I'm going to be okay with saying no a lot more. To opportunities and like to hanging out, like, hey, let's go here and here and here. And I think sometimes I'm going to crave alone time. And that's really new for me. We're always constantly around people, whether it's like our tour family or other competitors or just people that we meet on the new stops. So I think that that's my biggest thing, is like just that I just barely scratched the surface, and that I want to continue on that. But some things I learned, I would say, is just I really like talking about like traveling and just like kind of like your observations. Like a lot of times I come to a place and I kind of reignite those people's like love for their place, because I come in with this excitement and these fresh eyes and fresh heart. And then I'm like, next thing I know, I'm kind of showing these people around, talking to them about stuff they haven't done or seen or whatever. And then, yeah, I just think it's nice to kind of like observe the world around me and realize that like it's still going to go on no matter what I'm doing. And a lot of times I'm doing something else and not even paying attention to what's happening around me. And so I think just like being still, I saw so many things. I'll just give you like a quick example. Like, a lot of the Hawaiians, this is the time when the whales are breaching. They are migrating, and they actually are having like training days where the baby whales are being taught how to breach and to swim. And a lot of the Hawaiians say, you're going to see whales. You just have to sit and long enough to see them. You're not just going to go to the beach and just all of a sudden there's a whale. You have to kind of sit there long enough. And that was kind of my favorite part, was just, hello. That was kind of my favorite part, was just like that you wanted to sit still, because the longer you were still, the more beauty you saw. The clouds would roll in and bring this big storm, and then right behind it would be a beautiful sunny sky with a rainbow. And yeah, I think just sitting still. I kind of lost my train of thought when Alyssa came in, I have to admit, but
it's okay.
I learned a lot of things. I learned a lot of things about myself, but I'm still kind of trying to process them. And yeah, I just scratched the surface, I would say.
Yeah, I can understand that. And immediately when you were talking about coming back and maybe being a little flustered or what was irritating you, it's funny because one of my biggest takeaways, and I've only been blessed in the last couple of years to travel internationally, my biggest takeaway, every time I come back to the U.S., I think, what are we doing? Like when you go to places like a Norway or a Thailand or any of the countries that we've been to, I see the people in the airports. I see how people travel. I see obviously the culture while I'm there. Then you come back to the U.S. and I just think, man, are we just a bunch of dopes here? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I'm not anti-United States, but wow, I don't think we're doing it right in a lot of ways. And
Yeah,
it's
in a lot of ways.
yeah, in some ways we're great, but in a lot of
Yeah.
ways you kind of shake your head, and you don't know that until you go and experience other countries, because this is all we know.
Right.
But when you leave and you come back,
Hawaii,
hmm.
yeah. And Hawaii is part of the United States, so it's cool because
Sure.
it's like you use the same currency, like your phone works, like all these things are the same, but it's just such a different type of mindset there. Like they say like, oh, I ran late every Friday for our league, and I'm like texting them, I'm so sorry you're running late, and they're like, it's Hawaiian time, no worries. And you're like, oh, okay, they're just like being nice and waiting on me, but like truly, like it's Hawaiian time. Like it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like if you want to stay there and wait, you're going to stay there and wait. If you don't, you're going to do your own thing. And like everybody just wants each other to be happy. And I think that the biggest thing, and I keep coming back to the cars, but I notice like just being back, how many horns that I hear, like, and that is a sign of like, hey, I'm in a hurry, you're taking too long, get out of my way. And that's just never the case there. That's never the case. Everyone's just kind of going with the flow. Whatever the day brings, it brings, and they're happy about that, and they're finding happiness in everything they do. Where when you come back to the States, it's just so much anxiety, and it's overwhelming. And I think that was kind of what sparked my need to get out, is like the anxiety. Chris Dickerson actually posted about it a while back, and I never thought that I had anxiety or like classified the way I was feeling as anxious. But when did I stop drinking coffee? Like 6 months ago. 6 months? Yeah, like 6 months ago I stopped drinking coffee. It was kind of just like this like habit, like who wants some coffee? Like let's make a pot of coffee, and then anyone want another pot? And next thing you know, I've had like 6 cups of coffee and I can't sit still. And I'm already such a like high energy person. I was just like, where are we going? What are we gonna do? Why are we still sitting? What are we doing? And I was just so anxious all the time for no reason. So I stopped drinking coffee, and then that helped in the mornings. I wasn't feeling that in the morning, like we got to get our day going. Why aren't we moving? But I still noticed that I was feeling that at times. And I think just going to a place where they appreciate the slowness, and they don't, like, I feel like if you're slow in the States, you kind of get criticized in a way. So like not only do they embrace it, but it's like welcomed, like it's okay,
Yeah, sure.
if you're watching whales breach at the beach over there, like why would you hurry to us? And so it's just that was a big part of me wanting to kind of get out of here too.
Yeah, I always, of course, I think everybody needs to have all these various experiences, the ones you've had, the ones we've had, and then find whatever suits you best. I'll be the first to admit, to kind of play adversary to myself. The first time I went to California and dealt with some people from California, this was 15 years ago. I was like, nobody's in a hurry here. Like it was almost too chill. Yeah, bro, yeah, surfer, like the people I interacted with in the area that I was in. Of course, California is a big place, and there's, I wasn't in downtown LA, clearly, but I was like almost like, man, these guys are a little too laid back. Like, let's get going here. So I feel like everyone just has to find whatever their happy medium is, whether that's Hawaiian time or Key West, Florida time, which I feel like I've heard sometimes operates in a similar way, as opposed to New York City or wherever. You've got to find where wherever that happy place is of yours. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you became far more in tune with what style and what pace that you like to be at, which is awesome. Speaking of island time, we'd be remiss without talking about, of course, due to COVID and everything else, Samui Swine has just come and gone in the last week or two. We didn't get to all experience that, but while you were traveling, you made a survey and an announcement, and it sounds like you're locking in some details that you're going to help organize more travel. COVID willing, more travel in 2022. Tell us about that whole project.
Yeah, definitely COVID willing, but that's why we're planning for 2022. Yeah, so we're gonna do another disc golf tourist trip, but this time we put out a survey and tried to get like opinions from all different, anyone that was interested, basically, where you would want to go, how long you would want to stay, what's your budget, what types of activities, like would you want to do like more like artsy cultural stuff, or would you want to do like activities and hiking? And so yeah, we got a lot of feedback, good feedback, and most people either said Thailand or Iceland were the two top ones, but Iceland is kind of a higher budget, and the like average budget we had was perfect for Thailand. So it worked out well where we Thailand was the choice, and the dates are January 22nd to 28th, tentatively, obviously due to COVID. But we are going forward with that date and that location, and we have that whole itinerary planned out. And we are actually launching it on Friday officially, or opening it on Friday. But yeah, I have like an email survey link, or what's it called? Email collection link. So that when we do launch it, those emails, if your email's on the list, you'll get the full itinerary, you'll get pricing, you'll get all of that. And the first 8 people to sign up, we're only doing 20 people. And the first 8 of those will get early bird pricing, which is like, I can't remember, $100 or $200 off or something like that. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. I made sure to tell the agent that we wanted to have some disc golf days. So on the second day, we're going to do a round of disc golf at a course in Chiang Mai, which I've never played, so that would be fun. And on day 6, I'm going to do like a workshop, kind of like a clinic Q&A, hands-on with everyone there. Just kind of like watch their throw, kind of give them critiques and feedback on their form and stuff like that. And then, yeah, the rest of the days are kind of like hiking, waterfalls, night markets, elephants, hot springs, maybe some whitewater rafting, and I can't remember the other things.
Sounds like lots of fun.
I was going to say that. Yeah,
I don't know what else more you need.
It's probably right around going to be right around the Chinese New Year, if I'm doing my my math right. Probably sometime right around there.
Yeah, and I heard that Koh Samui is the weekend after, so it would work out perfectly. Because we last time after the Samui Swine Open, we flew up to Chiang Mai, and I think it was like a $50 flight, and like one or 2 hour flight, $50, and we went and hung out up there for a little bit. We went and did the elephants and all that stuff. So I've been to Chiang Mai before and loved it. I haven't been to Pai yet, which is another location we're going to. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's gonna be like your lodgings included, your food, all that stuff. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw you making the request, and then ultimately saw that everything was moving forward. So everyone's going to just keep their fingers crossed on that coming to fruition. It sounds absolutely amazing, and hope that it can all unfold the way we want. Pretty incredible. Have you, for somebody that maybe isn't familiar, maybe a newer viewer, when you're talking about this disc golf tourist, like you said, there's a day for disc golf, maybe a day or two, also the clinic and stuff. But you guys are trying to do so many more things, and it's kind of what you just touched on with being maybe in Hawaii too. You're trying to be so much more culturally aware and totally get engulfed in what's going on in that area.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so I know a lot of you guys watching don't travel year round to play tournaments, but I've been doing it for 11 years and it's really fast paced. And for the first few years, I was so fixated on practice every day, practice every day, practice every day, and wanted to kind of establish myself as a higher ranked player. And so practice was kind of my priority. Not to say that it isn't anymore, but I've learned that balance is so important. You can't just always be thinking about disc golf and always be throwing a disc. It just kind of drives you crazy. So I've, in recent years, tried to take some time to kind of appreciate where I am and appreciate the places that disc golf brings me. And not just go to the course, or you get a lot of people like, oh, you should play this course while you're in town, and like that's the last thing I want to do is go check out another course. Like I want to go see this place and like what's your popular food, like what where's the coolest waterfall and swimming spot, and like I just want to explore basically. That part of me as a child that wanted to explore and just roam the neighborhood never left, I guess. And yeah, I basically just want to do that no matter where I'm going. So on the off season, I've made it a point to continue to travel, but kind of make that the bigger part and disc golf the slightly smaller part. And find that balance, because I know once February comes, February to November, again, every weekend, disc golf, disc golf, disc golf, disc golf. And I think it's really important for my mental state to continue to be like mentally strong, to find that balance and to have these experiences.
Do you feel right now, are you fully recharged? The battery's at 99 or 100%? I
think so. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm ready for competition. I don't want this doubles thing. I want to compete. And I was joking with my friends in Hawaii, like, I didn't want to leave. One of my good friends there, Dred, I think he's watching right now. But,
oh yeah, he's active.
He was crying. Yeah, he was crying. Sorry, Dred, I have to call you out a little bit, but he was crying when we left, and I was really sad as well. And I made a lot of connection, not only to him and the people there, but just to the land. And I didn't want to leave either, but I had this realization that my job can't be there, and I don't want to quit my job at all. So that's just going to have to be my retreat when I feel like I need a recharge. So we've actually been looking at some property there, and I think definitely we're headed back on after Jonesboro. I'm skipping DDO and gonna go spend a few weeks in Hawaii and try to lock down a property there.
And that was going to be my next question, because you here on the show, you kind of told us that you like water, you like mountains, you like adventure, all those types of things, and you had been starting to seek out various places where you could see purchasing property. And boy, oh boy, here you are telling us Hawaii might have land, and the fact that, and this is in the highest regard and compliment, the fact that you're even thinking about being able to buy land in a place like Hawaii. I mean, does that tell us where disc golf is grown, how we've grown, what you've become? I mean, 10 years ago, you weren't thinking about, nobody was thinking about, nobody was thinking about, oh, I could probably buy some land in Hawaii. Nobody said, no one ever in the disc golf community. And here you are. And that is, like I said, I think that's entirely a compliment to what you have going on, right?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. I didn't think, I was not thinking about buying land anywhere. I was not thinking about retirement fund, anything like that. And Discraft has definitely made that possible. Yeah, I don't even understand what's happening, but yeah. I have a Sports Illustrated interview coming out where you can kind of find out a little bit more.
What? Okay.
Tell us a little. Tell us some more about the Sports Illustrated. What's going on with
that? They reached out after the ESPN2 coverage and wanted to do an article on me, kind of showcasing like a dominant woman athlete, because like there was like a stats portion and it was like showed all my titles, and they wanted to kind of focus it on me. And we talked for like an hour and a half on a Zoom call, and it got into, you know, an hour and a half. A lot of stuff gets covered, and so it kind of grew into more of an overall disc golf conversation towards the end. And he reached back out to me afterwards, and this was supposed to be a 2,000 word piece. And he got back to me and said that his boss read it and felt like it was not finished and there was a lot more that could be said. Wow. And they looked back at their archives, and the last time they did a disc golf piece was in 1993. And
do you know who it was on?
I don't. Actually.
I'd be curious if anyone on their board or anyone can find out.
Climo
in
or
1993,
Stokely,
or maybe just disc golf.
Yeah, or just disc golf.
Or it could have just been disc golf. Yeah.
Yeah. MTV and disc golf.
Yeah. But yeah, so they said that they wanted to kind of include more information and kind of reference their article from 93 and talk about how far disc golf has come in that time frame. And so we did another couple interviews, and I got them a bunch of numbers on the number of courses, the number of players, just kind of like all these stats. And then also we did another interview about like salaries, players, you know, how much can you make on disc golf? So yeah, there was a lot of information exchange, and I think it's going to be, it went from a 2,000 word piece to a 6,000 word piece. So it's tripled in size. So it's going to be a big thing for disc golf. And I think that, you know, a lot of people are going to see it in there and be like, wow, like this is how big disc golf is and how far it's come. And I think hopefully it's inspiring to a lot of people that maybe have played disc golf once or twice, and maybe they showed a little bit of promise, but they didn't think it was possible to have a career in it. So maybe those people get out and start practicing more. And yeah, I think it'll be inspiring to a lot of people.
For those of you that are on the chat board, I put a link to the 1993 Sports Illustrated article. And I did. Nice. Yeah, it talks about a little bit of Ed Hedrick. Talks about I think it's Marty Schottler. Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, I believe so. It's talking about Rivers Sherrod in here.
Wow.
It's got a few. I mean, it goes off. It's cool. You know, looks probably, I don't know, maybe 1,000, 1,500 words if I did take a wild guess. So kind of cool. But it's there's a link in the chat board for anyone that wants to link to that. So
very cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, and I think exactly as you're saying, to follow that point up, although it's almost fountain time, to follow that point up, maybe this will this will be kind of like what I feel like the CBS Sports and the ESPN2 broadcasts have done. It has helped draw legitimacy to what has been going on in disc golf all these years, because you know, as soon as, whether it's that article, all three of us, all four of us, and Alyssa there too, everybody, when this article comes out, you're going to get all these random messages from all these random people, you know, as a secondary or tertiary part of your life, and be like, oh, I saw this article. Like people that just knew of someone, and, you know, Johnny's fourth, you know, admin assistant removed from his office is going to be like, hey, but so-and-so, we just saw an article. You know, everyone's going to then talk about it because of its circulation. And I feel like that's exactly what the ESPN2 broadcast and the CBS Sports broadcasts have done. Is it really helps bring it to that mainstream level, because somebody who knows somebody is seeing it. And everyone's like, oh, but I know a disc golfer now. I mean, everybody everybody outside of us knows a disc golfer or two, and so there's that immediate connection and that sense of, you know, rival or legitimacy or whatever to some degree. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I want to talk about the upcoming year. We've talked about what you've done. Now let's talk about
the islands you're buying in Hawaii, the jet setting all around the world you're doing.
Was it last year or was it the year before that we saw the Fierce come out? Right?
Gosh.
Last year. I've only been on Discraft one
yeah,
year.
it is last year. And
Yeah.
COVID messes up my time because he keeps talking about Worlds last year. I'm like, there was no Worlds last year. It was 2 years ago. So I keep it's all confused in my head. Are we going to see a new disc this year for you? Are we going to see a
Yes.
Okay, spill the beans. Come on.
I already kind of spoiled that, so I feel like I'm okay to say that right now. Yeah.
You are now.
Yeah.
Smashbox double exclusive.
Yeah.
What can we expect? What's it fly like? What's the name? What colors does it come in?
Colors?
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come in all colors, Terry.
Yeah, probably all colors. Have you seen Discraft's plastic?
Yes.
It's the swirliest goodness ever. Yeah, I want to do something. I think that a huge priority of mine coming into Discraft for the right at the beginning was to have a lot more user-friendly discs. You know, we have the Nuke and the Zone and all of these popular overstable molds, and they don't really have a lot of lightweight stuff right now. So not that I necessarily throw a lot of lightweight, but I do like to dip down into the 160s. And I also just think that it's a hole in their equipment that they need to fill. And there's a lot of women and slower arm speed men even that don't throw Discraft because they don't have lightweight discs. And so I really wanted to make it a point to make that happen. And you know, with COVID and the boom and the Discraft warehouse shutting down for 3 months, like it just didn't end up happening. But so this year, that is our mission. I want to do something that, you know, like I said, I'm a huge believer in, I don't want my name on anything I don't use. I'm not ever going to be sponsored by Coca-Cola. We just talked about this yesterday, because I don't drink soda and I don't want to just like falsely promote something. So even though I do want to do a lightweight disc, I want it to be something that I'm going to throw. So we're kind of working with like what could be my roller, but what could be a lot of players just like money straight
Turnover.
Thrower.
Yep.
Well, I think in that perspective, I mean, obviously you do you, but if you had a disc that you didn't throw with your name on it, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. If it's a good disc, especially if it's dedicated to newer or younger or slower arm speed players, there's no reason it couldn't have the Paige Pierce seal of approval, even if it doesn't fit a slot in your particular bag. I mean, you can promote something that you don't. It's not that you don't believe in it; it's that you just don't necessarily need it. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of things that you could, you know, if you chose to. I would hate to see someone like, you know, restrict them, because if they came to you with an awesome, really great lightweight mid range, and you were like, wow, this is awesome, I just don't need it. There's no reason why you couldn't have a Paige Pierce beginner set or something like that. And that'd be great. I think that something like that would be awesome. And I said the same thing. I've been saying the same thing for many years since Terry and I went to Japan. A lot of my bag was Discraft, but I couldn't throw anything Discraft because there was no 150 Discraft to get a hold of. And at the time, so I ended up, you know, having to buy a bunch of stuff when I was there, which was, I think, mostly Innova product at the time. But it was kind of like, I wanted a lightweight Buzz. I wanted a lightweight Magnet. I wanted a lightweight, like, I wanted all these lightweight discs, and they didn't fill that hole.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely on the agenda. I was told hopefully by summer we can expect it, but you know, that's hopeful. So when they say summer, I'm just gonna only put my hopes on like 2021. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I was throwing the XS a lot when I was like 13, 14 years old. So we're going to do something comparable to the XS, kind of use that type of speed and stability, and mess around with a few of those molds. They are supposed to be sending me some testers in the coming weeks, so we'll know more soon.
So a new disc, hopefully, with Paige's name on it.
We've got to hear the name.
Oh, I don't have a name yet, but I am talking to my Hawaiian friends. I want it to be a Hawaiian name. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking Aina, A-I-N-A. That means land or earth. Okay. And yeah, I think that is a nice sentiment, just to kind of give back to the world around us. And I want it to be a Hawaiian word for sure, but I want it to be something that people can pronounce and say, but also kind of to teach them a little bit about Hawaiian culture. And it's going to be my new home after all, right? Gotta start.
I agree. I think that then crosses Aina off the list. If you want it to be something people can pronounce.
Aina. I'll say
it's 4 letters.
Yeah, but so is the Onyx by Macbeth. So let's get into that argument for a moment about how dumb that argument is.
You just said it right on your first try.
I know, because I know what it is, but dumb.
I mean,
sorry.
I have no problem with the name personally. I think it's fine. People are gonna figure it out, but
we're still brainstorming. I haven't even told them that yet. This is breaking news.
Well,
SmashBox exclusive.
They've heard it now because they should all be listening. All right, Bob, get on that. Start getting the artwork set up.
Bob is not watching.
Maybe Bob should be, because I've got words for Bob almost every week. Yeah, he should be.
Bob, let's get someone wake Bob up and have him watch.
Can I? I'll go off on a quick rant, and this pertains to someone like yourself. I complained to Paul Ulibarri at lunch the other day. I said,
"Okay,
I'm just gonna push the mic away."
Okay. This is more important. No, you're right. Oh, no, we lost her. Nope. It's not.
How do I turn it?
There you go. No, you got it. Oh, you had it.
That's my Instant Pot.
Yep. There it is. There's the fountain. Beautiful.
All lit up purple. Very nice.
Fountain.
my backyard.
The beautiful fountain that goes off every hour on the hour, and it goes off based on obviously the time of day, but also they restrict it based on wind conditions. So if there's a certain amount of wind, then they restrict how many jets and engines that they basically have, and as to how high it can shoot. But yes, certainly iconic landmark out there. That's amazing. And it'll go off for, I think, about 15 or 20 minutes on average. I want to say during its okay. So very cool. So I was complaining to Yuli this weekend, and it's really a good complaint. Kind of. When someone like me, and goes for all the media companies, when someone like me goes to Shelley Sharp and then Maricopa, and then someone like Adam Hammis, one of the phenomenal Discraft players, wins both of those events that I have filmed, I've done all the work for, uploading and putting them on the YouTubes. I think Discraft should maybe do like a like or a retweet or a share once in a while. And I know this sounds self-serving to my channel, which it is, but also, like, these are your top players. They're winning. All the work's been done. All you have to do is click on share so the whole world knows, hey, Adam Hammis, young superstar, has defended 2 titles back-to-back in Arizona this weekend, and all you got to do is click on this button.
So your complaint is that Discraft needs to slightly step up their social media game.
I'm saying this of all the manufacturers, and I'm only saying it because Paige is here, and I saw Yuli a couple days ago. Yeah. All of them.
All of them.
If
we all know that.
If Ellen Widboom wins an event, Innova should be sharing whoever has her coverage. Like, this is just a generic statement that all of the manufacturers should be stepping up their game, and I don't care if it's on Jomez or Ace Run Productions or Disc Golf Nerd or Central Coast. Come on, people. The work's been done. Go out there and share with the world that one of your superstars has just won this weekend or has performed well or shot the hot round, and all you got to do is share it to your followers. Can I get an amen?
I'll make it happen. I'll make it happen, Terry. We actually got a new social media I don't know his exact title, but Shane is his name. He is just stepping in as our social media marketing, all that. And he is going really hard. He's got a lot of video projects right now, but he didn't share my stuff either. And so I texted him. I was like, hey,
throw it out
do
there.
you mind sharing my stuff? And he was like, yeah, no problem. I'll share it, in an hour. And so I'll just let him know.
And I think Yuli did just the same, and so you guys are gonna be like this disc golf guy. I'm just saying,
Get
and
off my back, dude.
Yeah, this is a generic statement. I'm not just picking on Discraft. I just think all of the manufacturers, because again, the media companies have done the work, and it only makes sense to help. It's the easiest way to promote your players. I feel like someone like Grip is usually above average on doing this. And so I'd like to see some of our disc manufacturers, and I'm speaking of all of them, I'd love to see all of them do that a little bit more. So there's my...
It makes sense because the whole coverage is their discs flying, and it makes perfect sense. They should all be doing it.
Yeah, damn it.
Right.
I need more likes.
Do you feel better? You got that off your chest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Paige.
All right.
You're welcome.
All right, let's finish up our conversation talking about the upcoming season. Is the only break you plan on taking the Hawaii trip? Is that kind of your big thing, or do you plan on? You say every single week, but are you going to be hitting pretty much all the NTs, all the Pro Tours, all the majors,
Silver Series, women's majors? Do you have any pre-planned gaps?
Yeah, I have my. You can link this below in the chat board too, maybe, Johnny.
If I find it.
I have my tour schedule on my website right now, so pagepierce.com, and there's like a little tour schedule tab. I am planning on after All Stars Vegas. Immediately from Vegas, I'm booking it to Ogden to go practice for the Worlds for about 8 days, something like that. Oh wow, you're sharing it even. Nice. So yeah, I'll take like 12 days off there. But I don't think I'm really skipping many big ones. It's just like a tier or something. And then gonna be in Waco, and then after Waco, Texas State's Jonesboro, and then after Jonesboro, I'm taking about a month off, so I'll be skipping DD Open along with a couple other like mid-level A tiers. I think some Silver Series maybe are in there. And then what else am I skipping? I'm skipping the Sula Open. For one, Norway's just like impossible to buy a ticket to right now. Like you can't even. I made all my plans. I bought my European flights. I bought my Airbnbs, all that. But when I was going to do that for Norway, you can't even look up flights. So it's just kind of too hard to plan for me right now. And also I realized how close it was to Worlds. And I just don't want to play right after Worlds, whether I win or I lose. I don't want to jump right back in and play another tournament. It just seems meaningless. That's like the peak of the season. And so like, I'm either going to be crying in a corner or I'm going to be like popping bottles, and I'm not trying to play another tournament right then. And then what's my other break? I'm not playing Delaware.
Okay.
And most of the big ones I'll be at, but I'm not playing any Silver Series. And what are we skipping to go to your family? Okay. I'm skipping something.
What weekend roughly?
Oh, Norway. It's during Norway. I think.
Oh, okay, sure. I mean,
July 4th week or something.
Okay.
Whatever is that week I'm skipping.
Yep, it shows right here. Yeah, you go from the World Championships June 19th through the 26th, right to the European Open in mid-July. So almost
two majors in a row.
Yeah, a 3-week break. So
yeah. And by the sounds of it too, you're clearly putting more emphasis. Yeah, there goes our fountain's gone.
Yeah, I'm
you're
right now.
you're putting more emphasis in making sure that you're attending all the Pro Tour stops. I don't think. Yeah, there's a little more emphasis on those as opposed to the national tour, and maybe those are just the weekends that things fall the way they do?
Yeah, also just I believe in Jeff Spring and the Pro Tour, and I think it's only a matter of time before the national tour is gone entirely. Yeah, I just am choosing to back the Pro Tour, and also it just kind of works out where it's a 3-week break, and that's a perfect time to go back to Hawaii. But I might change my mind on some of those if ESPN is happening. I don't know how much you guys know, but there's going to be a few events on ESPN this year, I think. I'm not positive on that, but on TV, ESPN2, ESPN, there's going to be a few events on it, but those are still up in the air as to which events they are. So I think I'm going to try to make it to all of those. I just don't know which ones those are yet.
I know you're excited for competition and you're ready to get back at it and you're excited for travel. So I need you to dig a little deeper. What are you most excited about aside from all those things? What's got you like jazzed and ready to go here for 2021? What are you like really anxious for and in an excited way?
Oh, a chance to make history and become 6-time. Just the opportunity, last year we didn't even have a chance. So just to see that they are having worlds no matter what, I heard. So just to know that is an opportunity ahead and very close, actually. That's in July, like it's right around the corner. So yeah, I just want to get some more competition rounds under my belt and like feel like I'm getting momentum and feel like confident in competition. At the start of the season, sometimes you forget to put your mini down. You forget, I got to keep score. I got to tap out that 10-footer. Like, so yeah, it's just like getting back into the rhythm of it, getting the mental game kinks out of the way, making sure I'm confident, making sure I'm making the right decisions. And yeah, just counting down to worlds and trying to stay active and just keep that fire and know how soon worlds is coming up and know that there's an opportunity to make history right around the corner.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw from a few weeks ago, but there's a new FPO in town that we talked to who performed quite well. Holland Handley.
Yeah, I watched your video, I have to tell you.
Yeah. So, and I did have a quick conversation. She's trying to check in with work, and I know she was trying to make sure she could get into the OTB Open, and she's trying to balance work and playing and getting new into the scene, and so very exciting. And just in general, just a lot of fields, they're growing, they're getting more competitive. Hopefully we see more international travel again if we can get, your Kristens and Evelinas and Hennas back. But FPO fields seem to be growing and getting more and more competitive.
Yeah, totally. And I think that is just because people are seeing that you can make a living. There's a lot more girls, girls and guys, but since you're talking about FPO right now, like there's a lot more FPO that are sorry, I don't know how I want to phrase this. Like they're like making a comfortable living on the road. Back when I first started touring, there was probably only like 4 to 6 of them. And so now seeing payouts increase, seeing more eyes in the sport, seeing more dollars in the purse for the tournaments, seeing more viewers, which also then goes into the purse because they're buying Disc Golf Network subscriptions. And, so all of these things equate to a growth in the number of touring players as well. And so that makes it more exciting. It's just like this circle because now there's more people to cheer on. There's more drama. There's more competition. And I think all around, like when we say grow the sport, like every one of us is doing our part every single day to inspire someone else to touch a disc, to have them sign up for a tournament, to sponsor an event, to cover an event with media. Like And so, we are growing, and I think it's becoming more and more evident each year.
I'll borrow this from Dave on the board. Thanks for the super chat, but he's asking about influence of a Juliana Korver, and I'll even expand the question and say you just mentioned 6-time, to create history and becoming the first ever women's. I would expand it beyond just Juliana, who's a 5-time, and Elaine King and Des and Val, all those champions. Do you still draw influence? Do you still draw inspiration as well? What do you draw from those women? I mean, I saw Instagram post, Juliana signed up for an event this year and was out playing Kit Carson this weekend. And she told me, as she probably told you, of course, that she wanted to be there to watch you win your 5th at in Peoria a couple years ago. So are you still drawing from any of those women, and what are you taking from them and what they've done?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Elaine is kind of the only one that I'm like actively drawing that from, because she's the only one that I still see on a regular basis and even still compete against, which is incredible. But yeah, from Val and Des and Juliana, it's more just like memories of conversations I've had with them, or things that I've witnessed them do, shots that I remember them throwing, that just stick in my mind. And so, yeah, I think Elaine actively and the other girls, just kind of like this nostalgia of what they've done for the sport and what I hope to, be the next in line to inspire the next generation. So, yeah, I think to answer your question more simply, totally, I draw a lot of inspiration from all of them and just where they brought the sport in their time. And yeah, it's cool to continue to see it grow.
What would 11-year-old Paige Pierce think about the now nearly 30-year-old Paige Pierce?
Well, the 11-year-old Paige Pierce actually knew Des Redding, and yeah, I don't know. I think around that time, my dad was still caddying for me, and he was the type of caddy who didn't allow me to make my own decisions. It was kind of like he would hand me a disc and tell me what angle and what power and what everything to do. And the kind of fighter in me was like, shut up, Dad. Like, let me figure it out. And it kind of like made me a little bit resentful and just kind of like turned off on the idea of like playing these tournaments. Like, I want to play the tournament, Dad, not you. Like, you go play your own tournament. So yeah, I think it was kind of like this, that was around the time frame that it was kind of like we were butting heads. And so 11-year-old Paige wouldn't maybe not have even known that I was going to still be playing disc golf, because I was so fed up with my dad just like in my ear. But I think 14-year-old Paige, she would have known that I was still going to be playing disc golf, but I don't think she would have known that, I was going to be setting my 70-year-old self up for comfortable living. And yeah, I think that, yeah, I didn't even have a job yet. So, to think that I'm like, not only is this my job, but now I'm going to live in a van and drive around the country to all these disc golf tournaments, sleep in the woods, right by a disc golf course, wake up eager to play in the morning. And that was going to be my job. I mean, I don't even know. Yeah, I would have thought I was crazy.
And the times you leave the van are so that you can get on a plane and travel 14 or 18 or 24 hours to another country, which you get to explore and play and visit and hang out in for 4 to 6 weeks and then venture back. I mean, you're needless to say, you're doing it right, Paige, but you already know that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like I have such a great life, and I owe it to everyone that's watching this, including you two. Like, we all help each other, and it's really humbling to to slow down and to think about that instead of just, oh, I need to go practice. I need to make this post. I need to thank my sponsors. Like when you actually like sit down and think about like, this is all because of disc golf. Like, you know, everything I'm doing, like I said, every conversation that I've had in 15 years has been about disc golf. And like, so in a lot of ways, like how that was kind of like irking to me, it's also just like so humbling to think that disc golf gave me this opportunity, whatever opportunity that I'm at in this one moment, like that is because in some way of disc golf. So it's a really crazy feeling, and something that I hope the Haley Kings and the, you know, whatever 12-year-old girl is watching this, like I hope that you guys get to feel that. And yeah, it's hard to even put words to, but it's really special.
Well, Paige, we're gonna let you go, but you know, I know almost every tournament I see you perform. You play your heart out. More often than not, you win. And one of the things I say to you every time is I'm really proud of what you do, and it's incredible to see you develop this life for yourself, to embrace it the way you have, to be so successful, but yet remain so gracious and kind and humble along the way. It's pretty amazing, and we thank you for joining us here tonight. Is there anything you want to say to everyone else out there?
We'll see if we can get you back on sometime this year.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I mean maybe if
we only take winners though. So. Anything you want to say before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your Arizona evening?
Oh man, I feel like I just talked my mouth off. I don't know what else I could say. Just thank you guys all for the support. I know I say that every time, but I really truly do mean it. And you know, I feel it, and I miss feeling it in person, you know? Like there's nothing quite like a gallery clapping and hearing that one-off person just woo.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that, because now we're going to get like 50 one-off people.
Oh, that's okay. Bring it on. I'm ready for it. I cannot wait until we're out of phase one and we can have galleries again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, really, really exciting. And I don't know if you guys even realize that. Like, I know you're excited to be there and watch us, but we are so excited that people are there getting entertainment out of what we love to do. So, yeah, we all talk about it in my round with Rick, with Yuli and Brody and Macbeth. We were just all talking about that. Like we miss the clapping, we miss like feeling the energy. And so, yeah, I'm just excited and thankful for all of you guys. And, yeah, if you want to check out anything I'm doing, PaigePierce.com has most of it. My tour schedule, my Patreon, my YouTube links, all that. And mostly you can find me on Instagram, ppierce29190. And I got 2 more YouTube videos coming out within the next like week. So check those out.
Absolutely. Yeah, go and find her. It's not too tough these days to hunt her down or to type her into the Googles, and you'll find way on the top of all those career wins, all the other stuff she's working on. So Paige, as always, thank you for taking the time. I know it was a short, a quick ask this evening to have you, and you, as always, so gracious to jump on and satiate all of our fans and give us some insights. It's great catching up, and like you just said, we throw it all right back at you. We're super excited to be back at it, presenting it to the world and showing off your skill sets and your personality and all of that in the next couple of weeks when things get kicked back off again.
Thanks, Terry. And hey, I know you guys are watching SmashBoxx right now, but tomorrow, Wednesday night, no TV, no phone. Put your phone down. Go connect with your loved ones. Please. I challenge you. Take it as a challenge. You're going to have a good time.
Yeah. Maybe even at a putting league. That's what I might do. Well, I'll do that at a putting league with other good friends. Yeah. That's a great idea. All right. Paige Pierce, ladies and gentlemen, your 5-time world champ, looking to make that 6th this year. We know she wants it. Enjoy your time in Arizona, and we'll see you. we'll see you.
We'll see the Instapot later.
No, we love you. Instapot out. See ya. There we have it. Paige Pierce. Awesome. Always so incredible. There's one thing above and beyond that Paige always makes sure to do with us, and that is she doesn't hold back, and she gives us everything that's going on, and we love it and appreciate it. And it looks like so many of our live viewers out there as well. I know we sound very biased when we say it, but it feels like we could talk to her every week.
Other than her winning, honestly, like she could come on because she wins every week practically.
Yeah.
But I feel like we could have her on every week and just talk.
I know.
And
Well,
just figure out more. Let's scratch more than the surface for Paige. We're going to get to know her much better.
Well, again, awesome to hear from her. And as she said, beautiful location, Fountain Hills. I think Marty and crew are out there working. I was going to get into more of it, but we'll see it in a couple weeks. I know they're working on the safari layout. Also, it sounds like her video releases will give us some insights. So if you want to see, maybe not the format, but at least the layout of the course, it sounds like you'll be able to see some of that, whether it's on her channel and or on Rick's. So make sure you check out their YouTube channels for all of that information. And to kind of tie that up a little bit, we've of course seen a lot of hubbub, as I know all the kids say, hubbub, about James Conrad, his sponsorship MVP. He's got a new logo, all that stuff. But also, in addition to all of that, in his van life,
his website works.
Is it working now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because his partner in crime, his beloved girlfriend Jordan, has put together a year in review by the numbers. And I only had a few minutes to peruse it, but incredible. This is van life. I don't know if this is just van life 101, but then also quickly brings you into the master's class of van life. Incredible. She breaks down how many nights they spent in the van versus a hotel, where they camped or didn't, like what kind of the setting was, how much they spent on average for food. Like, it's just, there's just so much information there. I kind of quickly read through it. I saw that she had things broken down. I had no idea that they were compiling, one or both of them were compiling this information to then put it all together into a kind of an annual wrap up. I have to go back and fully digest it all, but spoiler alert. I think I'll put this out there. If I recall, I saw 0 hotel nights spent in the U.S., which is incredible. They do not have, I believe, a permanent address. He's got places he calls home and friends and family and where they spend, and they break down how much time they spend in various states, all that kind of stuff. If I recall, I think I saw 0 hotel nights spent in the U.S. And in some ways, it's an incredible accomplishment and surprising. And in some ways, you think about the savings. It's just it's very, very cool. So please go check that out. It's all out there.
That by the numbers breakdown, is that financial as well?
There's a lot of finances in there. Yeah, I think they spent on average for food,
campgrounds,
all that kind of stuff.
Gas,
yes.
travel. I'd love to see. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a full travel breakdown from a pro. I know Sarah Holcomb does a lot of that stuff, and she probably can
also,
give you some,
yep.
But in general, just start to finish from the first event to the last event. What did you spend in gas? What did you spend in lodging? You know, I'd love to know what you made completely, but even if you just rack that up to tournament wins, what you get that way. I'd love to see a full financial breakdown of touring costs.
Yeah, and I apologize that I don't have it at my fingertips. It kind of actually just reminded me as Paige was talking about kind of the van life, and I know a few minutes of Googling will bring it to you.
I believe the website is James Conrad Disc Golf.
I don't even know if it's on his page. We'll find it for you.
Yeah, I don't know if it's there, but I know that his website is James Conrad Disc Golf.
Wait, did he pay us for that plug? James Conrad disc.
No, but after what we're about to say about MVP, I don't think they're gonna have to pay him. What a disaster! Wow, those poor guys. I felt so bad for MVP Steve.
Yeah. So last week you kind of touched on their acknowledgement and
Yes.
owning up of James breaking their website, right?
Correct. Last week, they had an issue where somehow their staging server got crawled by Google, so a bunch of people were going to that, and there were some bots that were trying to hit that, which then apparently someone, and it was basically crashing the site. All right, so be it. They kind of scrapped that, and then they said, all right, we're going to do a re-release of everything. We're going to wipe the slate clean. MVP Steve was very upfront about what happened, and major props to him on all of this in general. So I think it was Friday then that they were like, okay, cool. Let's, we're going to redo this. We've got everything tested. The night before, apparently, Steve said that they balanced the load balancers and they blocked what they needed to, and they were whatever. Can you guess what happened?
Still crashed.
Crashed.
I really didn't know, but
wow, it was a mess. Some people got through, as we're seeing. A lot of people have got their volts, their James Conrad volts. So it was. But
damn it, I didn't get one then.
No, he actually, MVP Steve again went out and said, "Hey, this is again what happened 5 minutes before we were supposed to go live. Our site started getting a DDoS attack, which is a denial of service, where somebody more or less pounds your website and takes up all the traffic and blocks it and brings the servers to their knees." They said they had 10 servers spun up, which is the most that I think you can do automatically under the Amazon system without going to like a corporate thing. It's a whole deal. And it brought the site down. Somehow they got access to an IP address for their payment provider and were crashing that. And I don't think that MVP would be upset to say that it was a disaster. Now, thankfully, many people did get their discs. It looks like they were able to sell out, and I think there was just a lot of back-end work that needed to be done to make sure who got what and what happened, and I'm sure they learned. I hope they learned a lot. I'm sure they did. It goes to show you that the increase in demand. It shows you the increase in
overall popularity.
But and when I say demand, I almost mean like, I don't want to say need for these discs that people think they have, but they like the fact that they will do almost anything, whether it's bots or just constantly on 3, 4, 5 different machines trying to hit the website. It was rough. It was a rough few days for MVP Steve, and I did feel for him, being the IT guy that I am. It hurts a little bit.
You didn't offer up your help?
There's nothing I could have done.
I know.
There's nothing.
I know. You are well underqualified. I know.
I have said before, there are some things I am very good at in the disc golf and IT communities. Website stuff is not that. Like, I kind of know the concepts. I know what kind of needs to be done, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty, there was zero I could have done to help this situation or anything. But ultimately, I think MVP is very happy with their investment in James Conrad so far. He's bringing a lot of attention to their discs and to their website. I couldn't even I kept trying to just get to MVP Disc Sports website, and it was down. Like, it wasn't even like their store or whatever. Like, the whole site just crashed. And he said that it ended, like the DDoS went on for basically 10 straight hours or something.
Oh, geez.
Like, just it was almost impossible to get to the website for like 10 hours. So that's a rough day, my friend. That is a rough day.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's too bad. Also, it looks like I finally found it, and I'm going to put it in the chat. thechaoticgood.com. Let's see if I can find this for you guys. I want to put just the link in the chat for you guys, where it, in fact, like I said, talks about the tour. 2020 by the numbers, Our Tour Life.
And this is her website, correct?
Yes, I believe this is
good.
hers. Again, breaks down out-of-pocket costs where it talks about lodging by month. Talks a lot about what cities or states that they were in, how much time they spent with a lot of those things. It is kind of overall just a really good recap of their year. But then just an incredible. They have pie charts, Johnny. She put together some good looking pie charts.
That sounds tasty.
And she talks a lot about what they eat and how they go about doing all of that as well. So let me put it out there for you folks. There we go. So excuse me. If you're listening live or watching live, I have put it officially in the YouTube chat right now. I know, Ray, so many URLs in the chat tonight.
We're giving you all the information tonight, Ray.
I don't know how you guys can process all
We've
this
stepped
stuff.
up our game.
We're sending out our own DDoS. What was it?
Yeah, DDoS.
Yeah, we're sending out our own DDoSes.
DDoS.
Just bringing
Distributed denial of service.
Just bringing on so much action tonight. Paul asks if there's any second guests tonight. Who needs second guests when you've got Paige Pierce?
The 5-time.
The fiver. All right. Do you have anything else for our regular show before we close things down? Anything else that needs to be talked about in particular?
There is one thing on the PDGA. They are updating. They updated the website, so now you can create profile pictures on your PDGA board. So it says, put a face to that rating. Update PDGA.com profile. Add a photo to your PDGA profile in just a few steps, and they go through.
You've been able to do that.
Well, they're promoting it now.
Okay.
So I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know I could put my own picture there.
Yeah.
I got some pictures I'd put up there.
No, don't.
No, so they give you instructions on how to do that. If that was, I thought that was a new feature, but
I don't believe, again, maybe just the fact that they are promoting it, but I do feel like if I just do a click or two and get to where I want to be here in a moment, there's something else on the website that I'll touch on in just a second that I did notice, though. That is not what you're talking about. Yeah, I've been able to do that.
Okay.
So I know you've been able to do that for a little while. No, one thing that they did, which does make sense, under your PDGA player profile section, they have now taken it so your next event, they've actually made that an expandable window wheel. I apologize. I don't know what the
click on it. Oh.
Yeah, what's this called? So because what happened is you would go to someone like a Paige Pierce probably,
and then it would just be a mass,
and it would
paragraph.
be like 40 events she's registered, and it would all be in one paragraph looking form. And it would be tough to follow. So now, if you're registered for a couple events, it puts into a bulleted list, is what it does
like
for
a twirl
you.
Down
Expandable,
like twirled down list.
Yeah, twirl was the word I was going to use, but I didn't know if it was appropriate. So it does put it into an expandable. Seriously, it does put it into that twirl down expandable list for you. So that's something else that I noticed. Another thing that was mentioned throughout the weekend that I saw. I'm not talking about the Super Bowl performance. Another thing that was mentioned was, and I don't remember where or how you get there, because it was a direct link I saw, was that a tournament director, or someone could enter your PDGA number, and it would tell you how many tournaments and what tournaments they've directed. Like, they made that a searchable database as well. So you can go out there and see all the tournaments that you're on record for hosting, and now it's... I wonder where that went, or where I got to it. I don't know, but anyway, it's kind of interesting to see where and when all the tournaments that someone has hosted throughout all the years. Of course, these are PDGA sanctioned tournaments that you're associated with. Yeah, it was funny to see how many I had out there. Apparently, I've been doing that a while. All right, so yeah, PDGA keeps killing it as you would expect. Another fun fact, because I know she's listening. A couple of them are listening. Sarah Nicholson, who used to be an employee of the PDGA, along with her good friend and everyone's good friend, Andrea Eaton. Sarah was notified by the PDGA that Andrea Eaton, who had shot a 1,000+ rated round last week, was the 46th woman to do so.
46th different 1,000 rated
Woman to do it. To shoot 1,000 rated plus round.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool that something like that can be.
Not the 46th round.
No.
The 46th player.
Yes. I think that's what I clarified during the backup.
Okay.
That sounds right. Yes. So pretty incredible. And then Sarah, to bring this full circle, Sarah Nicholson then said, she's like, yeah, I was looking through the list and I didn't know some of those women, which, yeah, understandable.
It makes sense. You know, a regional FPL player that has a hot round on a local course. I could see something like that.
I know. It is kind of interesting to think about. And then I rattled off a few names of someone that I thought maybe was just before Sarah's time, as to, you know, a notable person that maybe has then fallen off the scene a little bit. One name that comes to mind, like Angela Chigfry, for instance, you know, who is a very, very dominant player in her heyday of playing disc golf events. You don't see her playing them right now. And I would someone like her has to come to mind for someone that's got one or more 1,000 rated rounds out there. So anyway, thought it was pretty cool to see, and great, of course, to see them. And Sarah says she likes to fall asleep to our voices every Tuesday night.
Well, Sarah.
So don't say anything too creepy.
Good night.
She's listening.
Well, hopefully she's already asleep by now.
Hopefully. Also,
Paige Pierce leaves and she's like, all right, I got the good stuff.
I do think of kind of Sarah and how this somewhat ties also Sarah with the Throw Pink initiative, but also Elaine King making some posts out there. I believe she's part of the Women's Global Committee, and saying that the Women's Global organizers are lacking. Not the ones that are already organizers, but the quantity is lacking. So if you're thinking about women running a women's global event, please go out and fill out all the proper paperwork and get things going, or ask questions if you have them, so that we can see some. I think they were shooting for like 150 this year, and the number was far less than that, like by like a third of that. So yeah, if you're thinking about running a women's global, or you have interest, or you know of someone else that should be running a women's global, get on it ASAP. And then, Johnny, one thing that you and I talked about bringing up that we never did, that we still can.
Last week, Jeff Hungerford.
Yes.
Was
appointed.
Appointed, yeah. I was going to say elected, but technically he wasn't.
It was a couple weeks ago, but yep.
Was appointed to our board of directors when Will Schustrick stepped down. Jeff was the third highest vote getter. So he will finish out Will's basically almost a year and a half worth of time on the board. So, which is good. I think I voted for Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff's a phenomenal guy, and very, very smart and very well spoken.
Oh, and his PhD in material science.
Who needs that?
He's been an absolute gracious, kind host, and all around just amazing supporter. Has been a worldwide traveler for the last couple of years since retiring. Just an all around good guy. And I know that it also says he was the 2-time PDGA Senior Player of the Year in 2017 and 2018. And he also picked up his 100th win at last year's Samui Swine Classic that I had captured those last few holes. So, and I know he's really pushing hard to work from a PDGA senior tour type perspective. Just no better guy out there. So congrats, of course, to Jeff, and we hope everything that you're looking to tackle, you're able to do. And then we could double down on that and say, continued thoughts and wishes and prayers and everything else for the Schustrick family. I know that their little Liam had gone through an open heart surgery recently, and by all accounts, from what I had last read, I think things are moving in a good direction and whatnot. But of course, we'll continue to think about the Schustricks as they're
it's heartwarming,
as they're pushing forward with their little guy. So love to see any and all positive updates that are coming their way.
And one final thing I want to mention before, I usually mention this in the after show, but I really quickly.
Ooh, is it that juicy, Johnny? You might want to hold it.
No, I don't. I want to talk about the regular show. Don't forget to sign up for skipace.com, the fantasy disc golf website run by yours truly. There's a lot of new little features out there. This year, we're being sponsored by Dynamic Discs. They are going to be putting forth a nice gift certificate to the winner every week. And I am as well going to be putting in a gift certificate every week to probably maybe Infinite Discs. I think for sure the first week or two will be Infinite Discs. But if I find something or somebody out there wants to throw some prizes this way, that I can send the winners information to, so you can ship it out, I'm more than happy to do that. You can sign up at skipace.com. You can register with your email, through Facebook, through through Gmail, through Twitter, any of those authentication services. And you can sign up. You get like 10. You can play for free. It doesn't cost anything, but you can also pay for some Skip Ace points, which get you into qualifying for bigger prizes. So that's where you get 10 points for just signing up. That's like a welcome, and that is where I'm going to be giving away some of those gift certificates. So I think this Las Vegas challenge will be the first one. That's going to be probably a $20 gift certificate, and it'll cost you the equivalent of probably 5 cents to enter 5 Skip Ace points.
Dang, I need to get in on that.
You do, Terry. You do. You definitely need to get in on that. So
the question is, will there be any way to place prop bets on streakers during the Las Vegas challenge?
I have not implemented prop bets yet.
Dang it. When you do, come at me.
Did you hear that guy
had allegedly
$375,000 for that?
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the after show. But yes,
that's interesting. So anyway, skipace.com. Please go out, sign up if you can. I also have a Substack, which are you familiar with that, Terry? You know what that is?
Yeah, that's anytime I'm really hungry and I go to Subway. And then right after that, I go to Quiznos and then Jimmy John's. And then by the time I get done, I've got a Substack.
Do you have a Substack? Substack is basically a modern version of Blogger. I was sick of paying a bunch of money to MailChimp. I was paying like $150 a month to send out emails.
Good idea.
So instead, Substack is more of like a free service. It does send out an email reminder, but you can go to skipace.substack.com and get that. Sign up for that. That's where I'm going to be putting a lot of the updates to the website, what's happening. There's still a few things that we're working on that I'm hoping to be finished by the beginning of the season, just little tweaks. And once those are in and out, I will announce those and get that taken care of. So again, skipace.com. Sign up, play for free, have some fun, build your own league, custom league, invite your friends and beat them.
I like it. Get on it right now. Skipace.com. Real quick. It's been a minute since I've logged in. When was the database last reset? Is my information still in there if I guess enough times?
Maybe. Did you sign them through?
Not
Google?
Through any of the socials.
No.
Just a good old email.
I'm sure it is in there. You could probably do a password. I forgot my password or something.
Oh, okay. I just wondering. Maybe I could create some new stuff.
You could create a new one with that so appropriate username and password that I see in there.
Yeah. All right, guys. So here's what I need you to do. Get your questions all fired up and ready to go. I see some people acting on the board. We also see Ace Run out there. Thank you, Ace Run. Thank you to all of our gracious super chatters tonight. But Ace Run also reached out to us and said they're working on a couple of new segments. The one disc, one tip segment that we're going to be seeing from them in the next.
Matt Dollar one here all queued up that we just didn't get to.
Are we going to get to one tonight, or are we going to save that?
No, we'll save that.
So Matt Dollar, Callie McMorrin. Yeah, they've been out there working hard as we know they do. So that'll be awesome. We're going to have those coming in the next few weeks, and we'll also probably get a little more insight and updates out of Dynamite here in the next few weeks as well, as we'll get him back in the mix and in the thick of things week in and week out. So we're going to call it right now. We're going to give you a few moments to just put together your dandiest of questions for our after show, where you can interact with us on the chat board, where we'll talk about things disc golf or non-disc golf related. We'll get way off the rails on that one. But we have to thank Paige Pierce graciously joining us, giving us some insight, catching us up on her incredible offseason. Last time I talked to her, she goes, I don't know where I'm going. This was the day after the Pro Tour Championship. She goes, I don't know where I'm going. I was thinking Mexico. And like, that's exactly the sentiment she had. Well, she landed in Hawaii, and it seemed like it did her well. And it's so great to hear and see from her as to what she's got going on. So thank you to her, Johnny V, myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. This has been podcast 336. We will see you in the after show when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Smashbox TV's podcast 336's After Show. Here we are, along with all of our favorites out there actively participating on the YouTube chat.
I see Ace Run out there,
We
Sue
see-
and Raleigh.
Good
Tim
morning
Quartz.
from Estonia. Hello, good morning. If I was smart, I'd know how to say good morning in Estonian, but I don't.
Daddy Disc Golf out there. I hope he didn't kick himself off his team, off the Daddy Disc Golf team. Hopefully he's still...
Yeah, still sponsored.
Yep.
Is what he's going for. Emily Garner, probably, did you win again, Emily? I saw your rating jumped up over 900.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Emily. Very cool to see. Eric Party is out there and says, Emma says hi. She just went to bed. So Eric and Emma coming in team MVP action from over in Michigan. Hello to you guys. I made the promise last week. There was a healthy conversation that took place regarding Samui, as we're all missing it this year. And I said, if Eric and his daughter Emily find themselves going to Thailand to play in the Samui Swine next year, I will sponsor
their flights.
I will sponsor her entry fee.
Oh, not a flight.
Her entry fee into the event.
Not into the country?
Nope. Not the airline. Not a drink on the airline. She's not old enough for an adult beverage, but yeah, I will sponsor her entry fee into playing the event. And they said they're going to seriously look at they're going to look into it. That wasn't the deal breaker for them, but hopefully they do find a way to get over there. I know Paul wants to get over there, who's out on the board. So can't say enough about how much we're all missing it over there.
Brian Rogers on the board asks, any plans to do any more game nights? No current plans. It is something that I would love to do. In fact, I remember a couple months ago I said that I bought the new version of Quiplash because I was all excited to get started in the season, the off season, and then this off season just kind of flew by, and I was busy. Terry was busy. It didn't feel like there was a lot of off season for some reason, even though I know it was there. It just didn't get going for us. But it could be something that we pick up a little bit during the season. We could maybe do a one or two offshoot, depending on what's going on.
Anything could get thrown in there. I would be all about that. I was just thinking of game nights. I'm thinking of internet, COVID, all that good stuff. I don't even think I told you that last week when I was trying to upload a large file for maybe Maricopa or whatever it was, little frustrated with my internet service provider, which is Spectrum here in my neck of the woods, and they were telling me that my modem wasn't up to speed. That's why I wasn't experiencing the fastest of speeds. So I went and got a new modem, which turned out to be quite messy, but finally got it fixed. And it's all said and done. I'm ready for faster uploads, which the whole world doesn't care about. Most of the world doesn't care about.
Can't you get AT&T in your area? Get to AT&T fiber?
I may have to look into that now as an alternative. It's just so frustrating, and it's funny how much clearly the whole world revolves around downloads because everybody's watching and doing all of these things.
Unless you watch the AT&T commercials, which specifically talk about the uploads.
Oh wow, I'm gonna have to get into them then.
There's a funny commercial I maybe even saw it during the Super Bowl. It's got Elijah Wood on there, and he played somebody in a movie called Lord of the Rings, Terry.
Oh,
and
that's what LOTR means?
Yes, Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And so they had the commercial where a fan was trying to talk to him, and it kept breaking up, and he couldn't talk, and Elijah Wood was like, oh, all right, well, then I'll move on. And the guy's like in his full Lord of the Rings gear, and he's like, no! But they're like, AT&T has 10 times the upload.
Huh,
it does. I mean, you come here and you see
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have to get into that. Very, very, frustrating.
Ace Run says that he's got AT&T fiber, and he's very happy with their upload speeds.
What do you got, Ace Run? Come on.
Too.
Let's
said,
talk.
don't ask me what the actual speed is. You can go to speedtest.net.
Yeah, that'll tell you.
And that'll hit the go button, and it will tell you.
Right. Ray says, will the All-Star Weekend always be this close to the start of the regular season? I thought a selling point of the event was being in the middle of the off-season. Correct. I think
Who knows?
I think the idea in a non-COVID scenario would be that it would be kind of a off-season thing, but
I don't like that.
I know, but that's the one funny thing is, our players now are at a point where they want to take months off.
I like at the beginning of the season. Like, this is the All-Star game kind of for last year, but it's a good warm-up. It's a good prep for the upcoming season. Because right after the event ends, or right after the season ends, nobody wants to do another for-fun event, even if it's for money. Like, it's just people are done. They're ready to just chill. You could try to do it in the middle of the season, but then you're talking about getting 10, 12, 16 players, maybe more in the future, all to one place, all figuring out a weekend, all to one time. We know that they take breaks. They've got off-season projects now. It's a lot more difficult. I think it's having it at the very beginning of the season out in Arizona where the weather's nice just kind of makes sense. I think this is, for better or worse, how this turned out. I think I think it's a better solution. And because the players are already getting amped up, they're getting ready, you're probably going to get them at their most eager to compete. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I originally, and this may help dictate how it unfolds or not, but originally I think the idea is also to tie this though to a conference of sorts.
Yeah.
An all encompassing vendor mart conference, maybe not instructional, like educational type, maybe seminars. There's a lot of different.
A bigger plan.
Yeah, there's a bigger plan here, and picking somewhere nice in the off season like Florida in January for a lot of those reasons made sense, and then and then tie obviously some of this competitiveness into it. I don't know how much, like we just said, all of that mentality will change, and then the components that will go along with it. I do know that, as Paige said, I think all the players are getting paid and then have expenses paid, and so I'm not going to call it a vacation by any means. There's still competitive golf, but it's meant as a reward and as a treat as well to some of these players. So we'll see how that kind of shakes out year after year and where it goes. Christopher says, how about fast tournaments? How fast they're filling up? Yeah, that's going to continue to be a thing. I think one thing you will see,
okay, go ahead,
is just that more events based on their size and what their overall goals are. I think you're going to see more events invoke and utilize a ratings-based registration tiering system, which makes perfect sense.
I was going to ask that. And how do you, as a TD of like 100 officially, I think like 140, 150 events, something like that, how do you do that? Like, sure, the event you could probably fill up an entire event with advanced players, but you want other players on the course.
Sure.
You want Pro or MPO, FPO, MA30. I'm sorry, MA40. MA50. How do you just
you literally just cap it at whatever you feel, whatever you want.
So if you have a 96 person cap, you say, all right, I'm going to let 35 or 36 or whatever the number is, advanced players,
sure,
and then we'll open it up to more, and then
yeah. Generally, you go by your numbers of what's most popular.
Yeah,
and rated, and that's a starting point. Is I feel like you would go by what's your most popular division. You're not going to need as many FA 50s, as you're going to need MA 2s, for instance.
Correct.
It's clearly a supply and demand, a supply issue, really, or demand, I guess, in this case. So you start maybe you already know that you're going to have, your most popular divisions. You're going to allow for a little bit more of them. Yeah. But then also save X amount of spots if you really want to, do a solid. Immediately save. I'm just using like a small local event. Save off 8 spots for FPO. Now maybe you only normally get 1 or 2. Save off 8. At a certain deadline, you say, hey, if we don't have 8, we're going to trim it to 4. That's how I do handle it, or try to handle it.
Emily,
and that's what I think you do with a lot of the divisions.
Emily on the board says it annoys her that some TDs cap FPO at 4 players when they might have 6 to 10 who tend to show up. Here's what I think should probably be done in a situation like that. I think you need to look at the history of the event and add a little. So start with 12. So
exactly.
like if you traditionally are getting 8, reserve 12. And if all 12 of those fill up, they fill up, and there's not much you can do unless you can find another division that doesn't fill and maybe open it up. But you leave it open for X amount of time, and then you have to close it, because you can't. It's unfortunate that a week before you might get 4 women who say, "Oh, we want to play." That's too late.
Sure.
The TD needs to have that sort of time to prepare, make sure trophies are available for the right divisions and things like that. So you can only give so much time, but I think you need to, as a TD, you would need to do something like that and estimate for a bigger field. And if it doesn't fill up, I guarantee you you'll find someone to take those spots these days
in another division.
In another division.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was that's exactly what I did say. Is just I'll allow for more. Those spots will always, can be given away later, but reserve off a healthy amount. Don't just reserve 4. That's why I said 8, or maybe it's 12.
Yep.
12 trims to 8 at a certain point, and then 8 may trim down to that 4, depending on how many have registered. The only tough spot you get into is trims. Let's just say it trims from 12 to 8. And then you have 5. And then it's like, no, we're trying to keep everyone as a foursome. Clearly, you're not trying to kick out anyone. But now you have one woman that's inevitably going to be playing outside of that, that FPO field, because you're not going to create 1 5-some.
Because that tends to create backups and cause
issues. And you're trying to adhere to other standards or whatever. So that's where it gets a little bit more difficult. But yes, always save a few extra spots as late as you can, and then backfill them, so to speak, if you have to. That's what I would recommend. Patrick says a local tournament, 90 spots filled in less than 5 minutes. I'll say that's becoming
the norm,
far more normal than ever before, for sure. And
you're gonna see more split day events.
That was happening pre-COVID in certain events and certain areas, and now with the growth and the amount of tournament players, it's happening even that much more. So. That certainly will be the case.
Yeah, Galactic says it's like if you don't do all this research and stay on top of it 24/7, you have no shot.
It
some
can be
attorneys
tough.
Don't even give info except to local players, and maybe here's another good way to do it. Guess what? Open early for club members. You want to promote your club? Guess what? If
I don't know if that's fully legal. There might be some stipulations.
Really?
There might be. Yeah.
Well, that's silly.
I don't know if there are.
I mean,
Let
it's
me
not
be very
silly,
clear.
but-
I'm not positive if there's entirely stipulations on that or not.
Mhm.
So don't take Johnny V's advice until you've consulted your local state court.
No, don't even consult your state court. Consult the PDGA. But my thought is, if you're looking for, if you're upset that the locals aren't getting in and locals want to get in, if you can give them some sort of priority access, hey, guess what? We're giving all club members, 10 minutes ahead of time to sign up. So you if you want to sign up, cool, 10 minutes, and then we, that gets you in probably. And after that, then it'll fill up in 5 minutes after that for all the people. I don't know if that's legal. I don't really care, Or
just
I
take all your legal advice from Johnny.
All your PDGA advice from me. Or slip the TD an extra $10.
Okay, now as a TD, I'm listening.
I'm just saying, if I slipped you a greenback of some sort and said, hey, can I get into this event? Just maybe right before it opens up, just put me on the PDGA list. That's
Nova. I love Nova's comment who says you could do a whole show about what division does the odd woman out get carded with. It's complicated. You are so right. Let me tell you, because
we talked about this just the other week, or just like how awkward it can be when you mix divisions, which would be very similar situation where if you do have an FPO player or even an MA, or FA2 player or something like that, like what division does she go in? Does she go, do you put her in the same division basically of men, or do you try to find something where she's more equivalent? Like would an FA2 player go with a MA3 group? It's so difficult.
Ratings wise, roughly,
I can't even imagine how difficult
here
it is.
is a piece of advice, and this comes.
Slip the TD a greenback.
I'm no Mel Gibson in What Women Want. Was that the movie? That's a good call. Yeah,
it's where he read their minds.
Yep. But here's what I've heard, not from reading their minds, but reading what they write on the internet.
And talking to them.
Do not, and I probably was guilty, we'll say, of this many years ago. Do not by default, if you can, do not by default put juniors with the women's divisions. And now let me say, often when you have,
do you know how hard it was for me not to make some dumbass joke right there?
I'm sure.
Like it
I'm just saying,
stereotypical lame joke.
Yeah, well, here's the thing though, and in my defense, and I think in some TD's defense, if you have two, I'm just going to make up some numbers, two MJ 15s, two juniors 15 and under, and you have two FA 40 women, like 2 and 2 make the foursome. However, if there's any other combination that might also make the foursome, maybe try that route. And here's what a lot of women have said, and I can absolutely understand it more now than ever before. A lot of women either maybe
this may be a break away from their family.
Exactly. Away from their kids, away from some kids, away from any kids and or their family, and therefore don't necessarily want to be on a card with juniors. Now, this isn't a rip on women or juniors, but if there happens to be numbers that work out so that it's not that situation, that's what I'd go for. Now, I'll be also the first to say,
I find the highest rated player and make them play with the junior.
I've done that.
I know.
Again, there's been times there's that fifth woman, so to speak, in a division, and there happens to be 3 juniors. Like that, that's just math, and that can happen. But I have learned that if you can work the math any other way to arrive at the solution, try and do that. That's what I have picked up. Nova apparently likes that idea, but I have picked that up because I think all too often that's exactly what happens. Christie's on the board, says, I have been carded with juniors playing FPO. And to me, I in defense of any TD, they may not be thinking, they're not thinking of it in necessarily any kind of a sexist or a family type situation or any of that. It just sometimes is a numbers game. You have 3 of these and 1 of those, or whatever, and sometimes just the numbers work out that way. But I try to avoid it. Even if the numbers do work that way, I try to see if there's another way to rework that very number. Just for what it's worth, I'm sharing that because I've heard that for years, and it's very valid.
So I've got two quick stories.
Nova says, let me repeat
Okay,
this. I like it. Nova says, number of times in my life the juniors were put on an MPO card, 0. And that kind of drives home the point.
Here's real quick, sticking with that. If you're not going to put them on the MPO card, don't put them on the FPO card.
There you go.
Like that's kind of how I feel.
That's a great summation,
because the two divisions should be treated equally. You know, I
agree,
and I understand that. You know, it's a lot of people don't see them that way. People think, oh, you know, the MPO, they're here to play. You know, that's the best of the best, and blah blah blah. But put them with advanced. Then put them with find some MPO and FPO. Are there to play for money. They're there to play. I can throw it in quote serious.
Yeah, no.
Whether you like it or not, if you're playing advanced or amateur or AM3 or whatever the divisions are these days, sorry, everyone, you're not as important of a division. Period. You know, the TD might think differently, but it's just the way it works. And if you can't do it with one, that's why I said I would just put it with the highest rated person. Find the highest rated person. You get the junior. Have fun.
Yeah, and that's not even. This isn't a rip on juniors either.
They tend to be slower.
Or sometimes they're way faster and they're out ahead of everyone.
That's
and
true,
maybe
too.
a little bit anxious. I'm done stereotyping the juniors only because I've seen every type of junior.
So many. Yeah.
And then we also see, 15-year-old phenoms that are far more well-behaved and or have their act together than some of our professionals. So in general, I don't know if there's a stereotype for a junior anymore, especially this day and age. I mean, let's face it, we're getting some legitimate sportsmen and women out there.
Brings me to my shower thought this morning. Yeah. I am sick of hearing people and watching people type, and I probably said this before, just wait till real athletes get in this sport. That comment drives me up a wall. Because one, it's disparaging the current athletes that are in our sport.
Of course.
Two, I was thinking, define a real athlete. Most of the players, I think the reason why these people are seen as quote-unquote real athletes is because they've been through training since high school through college, right? That's and they've gone specifically training probably for whatever sport they've, if you're in high school, maybe you play multiple sports a year, but when you get into college, you dedicated to a single sport. You're a football player, you bust your ass in the locker room or in the weight room every day, this and that. By the time you're out of college and you're 22, 23, 24, whatever, you're probably not ever going to be a true competitive pro disc golfer. I have made the determination that at the age, if you pick up a disc for the first time or seriously at the age of 22 and 23, the way our sport is going, you are so far behind every other player. And the odds of you being able to support yourself and be a disc golfer full time is so small. You need to start now as a junior and work your way up. What I want to hear people say is, I can't wait for disc golfers to start treating themselves as athletes. That's the phrase I think we should be saying, not I can't wait for athletes to get into disc golf, because we have athletes in disc golf. It's amazing watching when you watch a pro pitcher pick up a disc. We saw it last season, and they can throw a forehand ridiculously fast, and which inevitably goes a good distance, maybe not accurately, but I just think and the only reason they can do that is because they've worked on their athletics from a young age. You get a disc golfer to do that. A kid who, guess what, when they're 13 or 14, they start playing, honing their skills like an Adam Hammis, and they're hitting the gym then as well. To me, that's really what you're probably looking for.
Yeah, but you don't think. I think the saying more goes to the idea that someone who isn't necessarily athletically gifted or talented picks up and plays disc golf and is good, as opposed to someone who's been an athlete all their life. The person that's been an athlete, and you just said it about a pitcher, for instance, who just picked up a disc, even if they've just been more athletic all of their life, as opposed to someone that hasn't taken any athletics seriously. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think.
I guess I don't know that I follow your logic then.
We have athletes in the sport
Yes.
currently. Some of them, I'm going to use Brody as an example, treats their body like an athlete.
Okay. Yep.
Hitting the gym all the time. Paul McBeth. Things like we've got athletes in our sport that don't do that. I don't think you'll ever, no offense, but because we're talking about, I don't think you'll see James Conrad hit in the weight room. Not his style.
Sure.
He's much more of a finesse player. I mean, he doesn't need to, I'm not saying he doesn't need to, but he's in pretty good shape. He's an active person, but he's not, I don't think he's got the Planet Fitness membership like Ezra, and he's in there pumping weights.
Sure, but clearly he does other things. He eats well.
He juggles. He's very skillful. He's hand-eye coordination stuff.
He probably slack lines.
Slack lines.
I'm sure that keeps him. His agility. It's a different type of athleticism.
It's a different type of athleticism. But I think what people, for the most part, talk about is like when they say, "I can't wait for real athletes to get into the sport." They're talking about these people who have been training, and almost all of them in weight rooms. Because when you're in high school, you're playing sports and you're hitting the weight room. You're playing sports, you're hitting the weight room. That's what you do. Like in almost every single sport. Even as a swimmer, we had weight room days. You go and you work out because you're trying to hone your body. I don't see a ton of disc golfers doing that. I think we're getting more and more now. But again, which is what bothers me when I say if you have an athlete who has trained in the gym at, again, baseball, football, tennis, whatever it is, and they get through college and they come out of college at the age of, we'll say 22, 23, I think it's almost too late to be a disc golfer, a pro disc golfer, for a couple of reasons. One, in this day and age, again, we're seeing players now
I think
start at such an early age.
It's not too late for them to become a disc golfer. You're saying you think it's too late for them to be a world champion.
Probably a world champion. I think they could probably be a regional pro.
Sure.
But I don't think you're getting to that top elite level anymore if you're not hitting the sport at a teenage years and dedicating almost all your time to it. Because you can't. It's really tough, man, to split to split football, baseball, and disc golf or whatever you're doing in high school. I think it's very difficult these days. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. There's going to be someone that comes out that picks up a disc at the age of 23 and by the age of 25 is going to be a top level player. It's going to happen, but I think the odds of that happening are getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer these days, especially with the expansion of our sport and how big it's getting. Like we're seeing people our age, which are bringing their kids in finally, and those kids are now going to start to be kind of the future of the sport. I just think it's going to be so difficult. I mean,
so I think if we could summarize this, you're saying someone that's 30 that isn't athletically trained or gifted or talented, someone at the age of 30 that's just coming into disc golf, you don't see them, they don't have a chance to become a world champion.
Not
essentially.
Not in the open division, I don't think.
Okay. Well, I mean, I
think it would be very difficult. Now, there's a couple things that I think about in the back of my head. One, if look at our pros now. They are disc golfers primarily. That's it. Like very few have a regular job. They are disc golfers. That is their job. If you come out of college and you were an athlete in college and now your scholarships are done, you've graduated, you have a degree, you're probably going to get a job and you're not going to be able to dedicate your time. I mean, Calvin might be like one of the last. And even Calvin wasn't an athlete in college. He was a disc golfer who went to college. So so I mean, as gifted as that guy is, he, again, not one of the people I'm seeing probably hit the weight room regularly. I'm sure he stays fit. I'm sure he stays all the things, but that's what. And again, it comes back to the phrasing of wait till these athletes pick up discs. But by the time they pick up discs, I think it's almost too late for them because you're probably gonna have to get a job out of college. So you're not going to be able to dedicate all your time. And you're splitting time right away. So unless you're starting early, and by the time you kind of hit age 18, 19, you're starting, you're going to start seeing like the Anthony Barella. He could have skipped college and gone right on tour and been sponsored and probably be a top player. But he chose not to. He chose to do college and things like that. It's just it's a way that I think our sport is going, that you're going to have to get in young, or it's going to be a lot more difficult. And you're not going to be able to split time. You're not going to be able to be the Barry Schultz of when we were younger, who had a full-time job at a plastics company, not related to discs, by the way, and was still able to tour and be one of the best disc golfers in the world. You're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah,
not in the open division.
Yeah, so you're essentially saying that our next wave and our future of superstar disc golfers are going to have to be disc golfers from the get-go.
Yes.
We're no longer going to find a weekend warrior or a hobbyist that's picked it up and then now turns out to be an elite level player.
There's probably a few more years left of that.
Okay,
but not many.
Sure,
not many at all.
I mean,
I think
that's obviously the evolution of our sport.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that all makes sense if we're looking at it that way.
And I think you're going to have to start. We're going to start seeing a lot more fitness related things. And again, it's part of just the pet peeve of hearing people say, wait till real athletes get into our sport.
Well, I think a lot of them mean are
when
people say that, at least if I've ever said something like that.
No, I don't.
I'm thinking of, though, somebody that did all those things in high school and then started playing disc golf. People that were training. I think that's, if I were to say that statement, that's what I think is when disc golf. Let's look international, and whether it's Norway or Sweden or Finland, when they're starting to, not only are they starting to play, but they're treating it like
a real,
like it is a real job and career and sport and profession. I think that's a very appropriate way to describe it. Yeah. Okay. Schwebby, we all know you're one of a kind.
Yeah. But, and again, like,
there's not going to be a Schwebby in 10 years that can still do. And the Schwebbies are going to be 1 in 10,000. They're not going to be, 1 in 100 like they are now.
Correct. And someone on the board asked about Holland, who we had on last week.
Yeah, she had an athletic background though.
She had a very athletic background, and I hate to say it, but it is easier and harder at the same time to do that right now in the FPO division.
Well, it's just a number. It's a numbers game too. Sure.
So on one hand, it's easier to become a top level FPO player because of the numbers, but it's harder because FPO is a lot harder to make a living at. So it's harder to become a full-time FPO player because of the numbers. So it's a give and take on that one. So it's very difficult.
Dan Harbeck says you can't install and service commercial doors 40 hours a week and then play on the weekend like I did and many others. You can continue to do it. Yeah, well, you can do that, Dan. But you're correct in that you're not. That's not the recipe for then winning a world championships. You can play, but yes, as you're saying, you're not necessarily going to be winning a worlds or competing at the highest level.
I got 2 stories.
Great.
Both related to ice. So last week, Terry left my house. We turn off the broadcast and chat for a little bit like we always do. It gets to be just shy of about 2 a.m. and walk upstairs, open the front door. Terry takes his first step out in the front door. My porch has been covered in ice over the day because I cleaned it off earlier that day. And it dripped off from the roof on there. And I watched Terry go ass over tea kettle right into my front porch. Splat. And
Terry went boom. It was one of the classic, almost as if it was staged. Take a single step out of the door, and the leg just goes out from under me, and I fall over on my back. My left forearm, which is a little sore, my left forearm takes the brunt of it as I land on the door jamb, as I had fallen down hard.
I was very happy that you were okay.
Yeah, it was great.
And it was humorous after the fact. And as I told you, I said I was a little worried I couldn't sleep that night because I thought maybe you had fallen on your backpack, which had your laptop in
I
it.
know.
So
we all know that's where the real
I was concerned about the laptop
and the footage. The footage is all that matters to you people.
I know the footage. And the other ice story I have is from this morning. I walk out of my house. I go to open up my garage door. I look down at the end of the alleyway, about 4 houses down. And someone coming into the alley the wrong way is stuck in the snow. It looks like someone who has like a small 4x4 S10 type truck. And I can hear the car just revving, like, ring. He's really giving it, like, he's not rocking back and forth. He's just trying to give it to go. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I wait for a second. I'm watching. And I was like, all right, I'm in my work outfit, my dress clothes, my dress shoes. And finally, I'm like, okay, well, that's the way I'm supposed to go out. I can't get out if he's there. I could back up and find a different way out. So I walk up and I'm like, do you need some help? Out walks this little old man who looks like he's been salvaging from the alleyway, scrap metal and stuff. I look in the back of his truck and he's just got like just an assortment of trash.
Disc golf baskets. Oh.
Yeah, disc golf basket. So he comes out and he's swearing something or other. It's really hard to understand him. And he looks a little worn, like probably he's been up early doing this. He probably gets up early, salvages a bunch of stuff before whatever garbage comes and gets it. So he's swearing up and down. I'm like, well, here, let me give you a push. And so I get in front of the car and I push it back a little bit and it starts moving. And then I get out of the way. I'm like, okay, forward. And we work and work and work. And I was like, okay, finally. I'm out there for probably 15 minutes helping him because he's wedged himself pretty good. So finally, I'm like, okay, let me get behind your truck now and push from behind. Because the last thing I need to do is get run over, is all I keep thinking.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so finally, I get behind him and I push, and my foot slips out from under me, and I go down on one knee, and then I stand up and I find some better footing in my dress shoes, and I push, and finally, I get him moving, and he starts sliding sideways, and I was like, oh crap, he's gonna gun it and go right into a garage or into the fence, which is in the alley. I was like, oh crap. So finally, he straightens it out. And I keep pushing. And I was like, oh, cool. So he pulls up and he kind of slows down, maybe a house away. And I'm kind of standing there. He just takes off. Like, no thank you, no nothing. Just
Son of a gun.
Drives away. And I was
one
just
of
like,
those.
Really? Like, I sat out here for like 15 minutes pushing your car so you could, go do whatever. And he just drives away. Not even a thank you, not a nothing.
A wave? Did
nothing.
You see a wave?
Zero.
Those are the worst.
I was so disappointed in life. I was just like, I froze my ass off extra time. I could have just ignored him and done it, but I was a good Samaritan.
Yep.
And I didn't even get a wave or a thank you. I felt very dejected this morning.
People suck.
No, just I was just hoping for a little acknowledgement that I spent extra time pushing, because I feel like there's a few things that really scream Midwest to me. One of them is helping somebody whose car is stuck, because it happens to everybody at some point.
Yep.
2 is like snowblowing or shoveling your neighbor's sidewalk in the winter. Like, these are 2 Midwestern things. I think just if you have a snowblower and you're out there anyway, just do it. And I always have my son go shovel the neighbor ladies who are like 120 years old, shovel their porch. I think it's a good thing to teach your kid. And every once in a while, they come out. I've gotten hot chocolate from them. I've gotten a thank you, a card every once in a while, like once a year. And I always think that's a cool, good Samaritan thing to do. Nothing. Absolutely nothing from this guy. I was very disappointed.
Wow.
Not even. Yeah.
I don't know.
Tim, not even a wave.
Tomorrow, get out there early, put up some spike strips so that when he tries to come through that alleyway backwards,
no, our garbage was taken. But I
definitely get him.
I 100% would put up spike strips on the end of that alley so people that can't come in the wrong way, because it's dangerous, and there are times that they come at a high rate of speed and you don't quite expect them because they're not supposed to be coming from that direction. It's a one-way alley. I 100% would put up spike strips. There are times I've stood in the middle of the alley while people drive up and just looked at them.
Like, because what the hell are you doing?
Because right next to my house in the back is one of the one-way signs. The second one, the first one is when you come in, and just stood at it and pointed at the one-way sign. People get upset. So I don't want them to get too upset, so I move, because I don't want them to get pissed and run me over. But
whoa. I know I talked about it earlier, and now I admit I'm doing little bit of research here to see if I can find out what in the world was going on here in the Milwaukee area. That doesn't appear to be yet.
Something that probably everybody saw on the board was on Saturday, a truck was going over what we call the zoo interchange. It's the interchange right by the zoo here.
Oh, I did not see that, but I think I heard about it.
And so it's up about 70 feet high. And then when they plow the snow, obviously, it pushes it off to the side. So it kind of creates a little ramp up the side. And somebody lost control of their vehicle and hit the snowbank, went over the ramp and fell. Their car fell 70 feet onto what looked like an on or off ramp coming from the other direction. It was it was national news because thankfully the guy who was in there seemed to be, he survived.
Wow.
I don't know how okay you can say, but
yeah, I see it. I have now pulled it.
Link it in the chat if you can.
I will here. Let me first watch it.
Yeah.
Well, they're reenacting the whole damn thing.
Yeah,
I just want to see. I don't need to see them reenacting. I'll put this up here in the chat in a moment. But I have not seen this. Interestingly enough, I've only heard about it.
It's right here. So he hits. I'm saying it like everyone at home can see.
This is to be clear though, I will be on this interchange in a few hours.
Mm-hmm.
I will be driving that very spot right because that's probably going westbound.
It's at the zoo interchange, so it's,
so I will literally be taking that exact turn. Oh wow!
Yeah. Someone had figured out that by the time he hit the ground, he was traveling about 55 miles an hour from a 70-foot drop, about 55 miles an hour, and that is
okay. Well, I linked it in the chat. If you guys want to go out there and look at it, that's the first time I had heard about it, or I had heard about it, but I hadn't seen it. And I'll have to take another look at it a little bit later. But yeah, maybe I'll go a different way home. That is typically though the way that I actually travel home here on any given Tuesday night.
Yeah, I can probably bring it up on the board here. So for those of you at home, you'll be able to see.
We're talking traffic.
We're talking traffic on the 9s.
Yeah, this is SmashBoxx, literally Smash Truck TV.
Yeah.
Wow, and I can say that because he is alive and well. But wow, that's
so that made national news in a lot of places. And as this report goes, they drive over the area again, and it's all plowed. It's all nice and clean now. Someone went through and made sure to get rid of all those little ramps that were created.
Okay, well,
so as they show it like. Yeah, that's
okay. Well,
very,
good. I'll feel safer tonight.
You'll feel safer
actually
tonight.
On my way home from the airport last night, I was on that very interchange as well, and I didn't fly off of it. So
well, that's good. I'm very
that is definitely
I'm very proud of you to not fly over the interchange.
Yes, that is good. Nova says those super high curving overpasses always freaked me out a little on a motorcycle. I can understand. that as well. Somebody also posted, Dust says, Terry, I've been attempting some disc golf commentary with some old footage after watching the Arizona coverage you posted. Hey, Dust, you should reach out to me.
Before you say this,
mm-hmm.
And I don't even think you're probably a member, you can go out to the Discord right now. He posted a link to in the SmashBoxx Discord to his trial, his test out, his audition, so to speak, just asking for
his
feedback.
unwarranted audition.
His unwarranted audition. So I was going to say, before you invite him, you might want to check it out.
No, what I was going to say is he could also, and I know I referenced this earlier, by late Super Bowl, or after, I had all of both rounds of coverage edited from this weekend, and they're both just waiting on commentary that I would like to do with Yuli. He played in both of them. It makes all sense that way. What I was going to say is I could potentially give you a private link or something if you wanted footage that has nothing else on it. I do have the non-commentated versions on where it's purely the natural sights and sounds because we haven't put commentary on top of it. And then I guess that kind of segues into another point of I could, if I think of it, I'm going to try and do that a little bit more on my Disc Golf Guy Patreon, which is give you early access to footage that I might be waiting for commentary on.
Yes, so 100%.
So this weekend's event, I've got 4 total videos, front and back of 2 different rounds, and here I sit waiting on some commentary to happen. In the meantime, I could put up private links. So if you did want to go watch it without commentary and somehow be void of my voice over the play,
I don't know if anyone can handle
it
that.
just, whether it's you consider it a sneak peek, whether you'll watch it with commentary later, I don't know or care, but I feel like it's an option that requires a little bit of work, but it could be kind of cool for my Patreon subscribers, so that in the rare instance that there's a delay between it being done and the commentary, I could at least throw that out there. So if somebody wanted to watch it, they could. So anyway, that's just an idea. Havasu DG said, had to leave to read The Boys, some bedtime stories. Hope I didn't miss anything too exciting. I don't know if is that the ultimate non-plug for us to talk about what happened at the Lake Havasu Classic or Open this last weekend. Is that Graham or is that someone else out there? It is worth me looking. I did hear or saw some comment about Nick Newton possibly having a great afternoon round. So now you're making me want to go out and take a look here. I'll do that. I'll bite. The 4th annual Lake Havasu City Open. Assistant tournament director and champion of the event, Graham Russell. I think Graham lives maybe there. Nick Newton, in fact, having the hottest second round out of everybody. So my disc golf guy spidey senses were up. He shot a 1073 rated round, but it wasn't enough to catch Graham Russell, who had a 5-stroke margin of victory. Kerry Trotter ties second with Nick Newton. And Cade Philomohala? Philomohala? That's it. If that's not right, it's got to be a pretty damn good guess. Cade taking... I skipped Cade's last name a few weeks ago. Oh, and then there's an Andrew as well. I'm guessing they're related.
No, just... It's a local name. Like Smith when you go there.
Yeah. But anyway, those were your top 4. I saw a couple of Vegas guys had stepped up and played in the Open division. Hannah Stevanovic was your FPO champion. So Nick going second, Hannah taking first. They had a good weekend, and Graham again your champion. So okay. So yeah, he Graham does tell us he designed and built the course, and then wins the tournament and runs the tournament, and then gives a low-key plug on Smashbox. Graham, you're doing it right, I got to tell you. And Graham also requires 0 X step. He doesn't run up, just stands and delivers.
And I know someone mentioned it earlier, but we want to talk about the best post of the week. Have you seen this?
I have not.
Oh, you're not. That's right. You're not really on Disc Golf Twitter. So
sometimes
this morning, Hannah Macbeth reaches out to Paige Shue and says, "Hey Paige, can I hold your baby?" Just asking, like, "Hey, Paige. Hannah loves children. Good, whatever." And Paige Shue responds with this picture that says, "I got you." Super, I would say superimposes, but photoshops a baby into Hannah's arms in a hole. For those of you at home, imagine this isn't the hole, but imagine hole 14 at Maple Hill.
Yeah.
And that's what this hole looks like.
It looks like nearly identical.
It's nearly identical. You're shooting through some trees over some water, except this one's more straight. And puts the baby in Hannah's arms. and again, it says, I got you. And then later comes on and says, yes, of course, if you ever come to North Carolina, you're welcome to hold my baby. But I thought this was, this won the internet this morning. It was first thing
maybe
this
morning. Week.
It could be this.
That is incredible.
It's a great Photoshop. It's kind of perfect. And everybody commented. I think I saw Mo in the Disc Golf Pro Tour, one and the same, post something how we don't condone throwing babies, but this is pretty much the greatest thing we've seen today.
Yeah, and I was close to a visit. I'm sure if I wanted to impose a little, maybe I could have. I ran into none other than Noemi Burkus Bjerkes this weekend.
You nailed her first name, which is the hard part.
I know that's the hard
Screwed
part.
up her last one.
I may have shared a plane ride with her
really?
this weekend. Yeah, so she was going to visit the shoes and checking on her 5th granddaughter. So pretty funny. It's always when
Fifth
you run in.
grandchild who happens.
Did I say granddaughter?
You said
Yeah,
granddaughter, which is a
grandchild. You're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is always kind of funny when you're at the airport and then all of a sudden you run into other disc golfers that you know, including Noami. So pretty cool. Side note to this whole to the weekend and to the baby, the baby tossing.
So that is your social media update for today.
Yes.
Again, if you're not,
if
you're not on disc golf Twitter, you're kind of missing out.
Yeah, sometimes. Speaking of Twitter, I made a post.
Oh, geez.
Which I do infrequently, but
Let me guess. Was it complaining about some company and your service from that company? Because you're very good at that.
I am, and I've always said I need to quit only complaining on Twitter. I need to give out as many shout-outs as I do complaints because Twitter's my favorite place to go when I want to complain. No, the post I made was somewhat of a complaint still, just not to a company.
Okay.
It was, for the love of God, people, can we quit calling Patrick Mahomes like the GOAT or the next GOAT? Like, I get it. I get it that he's good. I get it that he's young. He's talented. He's got this insane contract. He's done all these amazing things. He won the Super Bowl, blah, 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 last year. I got all of that. I truly do get it. I get that his potential seemingly is limitless. I understand all of that. But for God's sakes, the way I hear people talk about, like, this Super Bowl defines it. If he wins this Super Bowl, he's basically going to become the GOAT. And it's,
as always, I hate the term the GOAT. Whatever.
That too, whatever. I don't understand the hype. As my tweet said, now I don't even know how to find it.
That's fine.
As I'm booming around, I get his potential. But people are talking like he's won 5 Super Bowls and he's like neck and neck with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady at this point isn't even part of my conversation for it. Just the hype and the talk around Mahomes as if he's won 5 or 6 or 10 and we just need that little nudge. This weekend was going to give him the nudge. Like, just for the sake of shutting people the F up, I'd love to see him break a leg and be out for a year.
Oh, God, no. Don't say that.
Okay, it's nothing against Patrick. It's just honestly, it's really like, I get it. But if we are giving out these lifetime awards based on a couple of seasons and a lot of potential, by God, we got to rewrite a lot of awards in all of sports. Am I off on this? I'm a fringe football player.
I think
caveat.
I think you're taking it a little far because I don't think there are that many people that are. I think a lot of people see Mahomes' potential, but I don't think anyone right now is calling him the greatest.
Oh, I've heard it. I didn't make it up. I'm not calling him that. To hear people talk about,
I think you're reading more into it than people are.
I don't think, because I heard plenty.
Other than Hugo right now, who says Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. So he's just revving your engine, Terry. Just revving your engine.
Oh my gosh!
And again, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. That doesn't make him the most skilled quarterback.
Sure.
It does. I mean, I saw some people on an actual former NFL player. Someone asked, "Who's the most skilled quarterback?" And he said Aaron Rodgers.
Sure.
And I agree with that. Like,
okay.
you put these two guys out in a field, you distance, accuracy, things like that. That's fine. I think Aaron wins hands down. But Tom Brady is also he has to be. He's one of the luckiest players, because he has been lucky enough to been put into a position to have a complete team around him, defense, offense. You know, he's a great game manager, probably the best ever. But you know, when it comes to reading defenses, Peyton Manning was 10 times better than Brady ever was. Now, again, Brady's the greatest overall. Again, I said the same thing about Macbeth. Macbeth might not have the top level skills of everyone of every person, like I might take Eagle over Macbeth, but there's something about Macbeth that makes him win. He has that gear that doesn't quit, and he doesn't seem to falter. Eagle might hit 10 a lot, but sometimes he dips down to 6. Macbeth seems to stay at 8 to 9 all the time, which is why he consistently wins. And I think that's what Brady does. He's consistently really good. That's just how it works. And
I don't know. You can say that, but I've already predetermined
that
Holland Hanley is the greatest FPO player of all time
because she won an event.
Yeah, she's the greatest.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, Pages.
Yeah, and this particular Super Bowl, Tom Brady didn't do anything special. And I know you're not watching.
I was going to say this is so not even a Tom conversation as much as it is. It's not. Mahomes.
I was actually a little frustrated that he won the MVP of the Super Bowl.
I didn't see that being warranted, but
no, only because I think the defense someone on the defense probably deserved that MVP, but I don't know who you give it to because it was a pretty much all around effort where it seemed like Mahomes he got the ball and before he could even take a breath that someone was on him.
Yes,
and then he would throw it and it would hit one of his teammates in the face mask and they would drop it. So, but I don't know who you give it to because you don't give it to a running back probably in that situation. Tom Brady's he had 2 touchdown throws. It makes the most sense.
3, yeah.
Three touchdowns, one to
Antonio.
Antonio Brown, yeah. And so it makes sense to have it go to him. He didn't do anything special, but he didn't screw up the game either. So all that stuff makes sense. And I can't fault them for doing it. It's just a little disappointing. Like, okay, I guess for lack of a better person to give it to,
sure,
because you don't give it to the entire defense. It's the most valuable player. So, but whatever. I mean, that's all semantic stuff. And
again,
I think.
Let me back up. Is Joe Montana currently
second place?
A better currently as today stands, him being done and retired, and Patrick Mahomes' career where it is today.
Yeah,
Joe Montana
still
way above
4 Super Bowls.
Okay, like
Mahomes only has 1.
Exactly. Anyway,
he's just really young, and
I get it.
a lot of potential.
And I hope he has an illustrious career. And could he go on to become I'm sure. I'm not denying he can't be. I just am
the
sick.
Odds are very unlikely.
I agree, and that's part of my problem with this is that people are acting like he's knocking on the door of he's knocking on the goat office, just ready to walk in.
No, Brady.
Give it a break.
No, Brady is.
It's not because I have a bigger dog in this fight or a bigger goat in this fight personally. I'm not even going there. I'm just saying he's not yet.
Yeah.
Talk to me in 10 years. Yeah. Maybe. Then maybe I'll be here saying, yeah, holy cow, all of you guys were right then, luckily. But
yeah, luckily.
Anyway, lots of cool stuff. They continue to post about it.
Nova says Mahomes led the Chiefs to more Super Bowls than Joe Montana did. True, I think Montana only led him to 1. Yeah. Mahomes is at 2 now.
Also, really cool to see they continue, and maybe this is why she left town, Noemi Bjerkes. Dynamic Disc continues to make their huge transition and move to their new warehouse. And thanks, Bobby, of course, and the whole crew who continue to put out. I know Bobby was rolling around on his little scooter thing. What's the word? Hoverboard. Yep. Rolling around in the old place, and I just love seeing it, and the fact that just imagining packing up a warehouse full of stuff and then moving to the new one, but then also what else has to fit in there, the growth of the sport, the growth of new products, and everything else that it's doing is I think quite an effort over there. So pretty cool to see DD doing all the big things they are. Thought I'd throw that out there.
That's cool. I don't know where the new warehouse is exactly in Emporia.
I don't. That's a good. Yeah, I almost asked Noemi, but I didn't. But I'm curious as to where that is as well. To be fair.
It's probably within about 3 miles.
I was just going to say, if you get lost in Emporia, it's just a matter of where your next hole is. It shouldn't be overall how where you are. So somebody just commented about the commercials.
For the Super Bowl, mediocre at best. I didn't.
I mean, are we just going to be disappointed every year because every year you want them to be so incredible and the most entertaining part of the Super Bowl. But then when 20 of them don't wow you, you always are like, they weren't that good. They sucked.
I really like the Tracy Morgan ones. For Rocket Mortgage, where he's like, what's the difference between, like, was it Almost Sure and whatever. Both of those were really funny. For some reason, the Jason Alexander sweatshirt one tickled me. I thought it was really funny because the face kept changing on the sweatshirt. Yep. It's a dumb commercial, but I thought it was funny. There was one more that I laughed pretty well at. Having Shaggy pop up on the commercial, that tickles the nostalgia bone.
Hey, I was just gonna say, and here would be my takeaway. It felt like and maybe this is, I think, a growing trend, and you could always say nostalgia is a growing trend because everybody's getting older and there's more things to throw back to. I do feel like there is this trend of definitely the throwbacks to just invoking that whole nostalgia. I don't know. I feel like there were 2 or 3 things that made me really think, wow, we're really going to that era.
Have you seen the tag team commercial?
Oh, it's. Okay. I think it's one because I had to explain to my daughters.
My wife and I laugh so hard. And my favorite at the very end when he goes, sprinkles, like chocolate.
Yeah, I
laughed so hard the first time.
Again, it's so generational and completely. So specific. That we find that hilarious because tag team, in
they had their one hit.
Exactly. In the mid 90s, like you had to be into music and care about music at the right age to care about that, and hence that commercial just kills it for you and I. And I can't say enough about how much I love it because now I've seen it 10 times and I also still laugh at it.
I've probably seen it 50 because for whatever streaming service, I think Hulu has it on every other commercial, it felt like. So we saw it so much.
Ray says, and I do have a point here. This kind of segues to it. Ray says The Weeknd didn't have 20 minutes worth of music. Here's my rant that I almost posted and figured I'd just share.
Share it
and
with
it's
us,
not much of a rant. Maybe it's common sense to some. Can we just agree there are 0 performers that 51% of the world are going to love? Because think about. Okay, I was going to actually prepare for this and I didn't.
Yeah, you're not going to
pull up the last 20 years of Super Bowl performers. Tell me one that killed it. That universal. It's just not going to happen.
See,
there are hundreds of thousands of music genres, and there's everyone from the age of 10 to 90 watching the Super Bowl. How in the world are you ever going to find a consensus on someone that loves the halftime show?
I think
you're just not.
I think Prince was just prior to 20 years ago.
And I'm not a Prince fan. He's in my age range. I wasn't a Prince fan.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I would say it doesn't matter because that I can appreciate a really good performance of artist I don't like.
True.
And Prince.
So can I.
And I did like the Shakira one as well last year or 2 years ago.
I don't even remember it, but
yeah. Like I thought they both performed very well, and the Prince Purple Rain, In the Rain, phenomenal, just a phenomenal show. There hasn't been a lot, that I've loved. I mean, it's
you play. I just think of, and I'm just making up names here.
I thought there were other
issues
with The Weeknd that I didn't like.
I was gonna say you play some nostalgic rock and roll classics, whether it's a Bruce Springsteen or a Bon Jovi, who I'm assuming have done it. I can't even tell you. I feel like they've done them recently. Great. Again, that plays to an age range, a specific age range. My point is, you could bet if you want a Super Bowl prop bet on how many people complain about the halftime show, because it's almost going to be 100% dependent on your age. That's all there is to it. Nate,
the Justin Timberlake. I'm going back now. The Weeknd. Here's what I'll say about The Weeknd this year. Most people, the concept went over their head. I don't think they understood. For the last year, he's been wearing bandages on his face, and I don't know if he's ever really said for sure.
Like Nelly?
They look like he's making a statement about I don't know if it's the superficial nature of Hollywood and just like plastic surgery and crap like that.
As
Something
he's
along those
cashing
lines.
in on Hollywood.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
And so I think that was big because everyone saw all the dancers and it looked like they had diapers or jock straps on their face, and so a lot of people were like, "What the hell?"
That's the symbolism there.
Symbolism
that I didn't
budget.
get. Okay.
But here's what I'll say about the performance itself. One, the audio sounded like garbage. I thought I couldn't make out. Maybe you need to know the Weeknd's music better because I couldn't make out much of what he said. I didn't think it was very exciting. The show, there was at no point was there ever, I think, a lot of energy. So those are my two big complaints. I was kind of like, I saw someone that likes The Weeknd. They were like, oh, it was pretty good, and I'm like, oh, you must know the songs,
Of course.
because whatever. But they didn't. Even they said that wasn't super exciting, but they liked The Weeknd, so it works out. So that was my big issue with it. I'm not a big fan of The Weeknd. I think there are better '80s nostalgia hits that you can take. Shakira, Jennifer Lopez last year I thought was actually pretty good. Maroon 5 was garbage. Justin Timberlake was decent. Lady Gaga, I don't really recall that one.
Incredibly divisive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a love-hate for Lady Gaga out there,
To me,
and very much age-based. Like,
Coldplay might be the closest thing that everybody likes because they're so vanilla to me. Like, my wife loves them. I kind of think they're like, but I don't dislike them. It's just like, oh, it's a Coldplay song. Okay, it's tolerable. But that might be the closest thing you're going to get to whatever. I mean, that one had Beyonce, apparently Bruno Mars, Mark Ronstadt. If I recall, but again, that one kind of was like whatever. Katy Perry was, I thought, decent. That was with all sharks. I remember that. Left shark,
yeah,
right shark.
and like riding in on a lion. I get all that.
A lot
but
of people liked Bruno Mars. I'm not a Bruno Mars like aficionado, but there was that. Beyonce was good. I remember that. That Beyonce is always good though. I don't remember Madonna.
Yeah, but if you're 62, you don't think Beyonce is good. You don't know any of the songs, and you probably don't care or think she's good.
If I think you can look at a performance and there's an energy.
Dan
to
Harback, did you like Beyonce? Because Dan, you're my grumpy old man. Yeah, well, and I don't know how old you are, but you're my grumpy old man on here. Like, and Ray, I'll throw you in there. And I'm saying this in a very lighthearted way. I understand the concept of the Super Bowl spans so many generations and so many people that it's just so predictably obvious that you're going to have everything from it's the greatest show on earth to is absolute
Dan
garbage
loves Beyonce, by the way.
and nonstop everywhere in between because it's a snapshot. And usually they're current pop culture, I guess, more often than not.
It depends. Like
a few times they're a throwback.
You
but
get like a Madonna, The Who.
My 6-year-old at the time. Well, maybe she's a bad example. My a 13-year-old girl. Who's this Madonna?
Yeah, correct.
13-year-old doesn't know Madonna or care.
Yep.
I don't know.
Okay, so Prince was 2007. Okay, I thought that was further back.
Wow.
So that's 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought a little further back than that. Yeah, before that, Rolling Stones in 2006, Paul McCartney, like I mean, those are huge names, but someone your daughter wouldn't know. But I guarantee you, like,
I barely care about them. But then again, it wasn't my genre of music.
Correct. But you could probably watch it and like, oh wow, Paul McCartney, like I know some of those songs. Like I'm not a big fan, but again, I think you can tell. Like
it's just so
energy.
funny that yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything more predictable than most of the country seemingly hating the halftime show.
Correct. No, I
guess
will
was
agree with
my overarching point here is that seems to be the point, no matter who it is. And of course, on my Facebook feed, I literally read, "Oh my God, that halftime show was amazing. I loved it." And the very next post was, "Oh my God, what garbage, what trash.
Oh, really?
Why don't they get someone good in here?"
It's funny.
I see it all.
I didn't see anyone say they loved it.
Oh, I saw a few. Yeah.
I didn't.
And I immediately think, really? Okay.
And I don't
care.
If art, as I always say, art is subjective. Many years ago, I gave up like
arguing about
people's taste in music and things like that because it's
kind of like it's like arguing about someone's taste in beer.
Exactly. Like you just
you like what you like.
You like what you like. Exactly.
Like old Chubb.
I mean, it's interesting that I know last year. Oh no, I'm sorry. This year, I think they had there were a lot of artists that actually just turned down the halftime show over the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. Like they wanted Jay-Z, he turned it down. They wanted one or two others that just flat out just said, yeah, no thanks, we're not interested. And then it's funny that the weekend
It's like, I'll take it.
I'll take that money.
Yeah. Well, I think I did see a really interesting. God, there was like a mini series or documentary about the whole idea of taking on and what it does or doesn't mean. Is it that they lose money? Was that the takeaway? There's something about taking on the halftime show that has a very back end drawback, and I forget, except for half the country saying they hated you while watching you, as you're exposed to maybe new potential fans. No, there's something out there. Maybe somebody on the board remembers what it was.
Well, and
there was like an expose on like all the big drawbacks to actually performing at a halftime show.
Sure.
I feel like I watched that.
The Weeknd had to pay $5 or $6 million to perform.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's the drawback I'm thinking of. Is you're actually paying to do it.
That could be.
Or they say, oh yeah, we offer this kind of stipend or offer, but in the back end, if you're bringing in all your stuff or you want to do your show right, maybe that's all stuff that you have to pay for. So it's a big net loss. I don't remember. I remember there was some big drawback where it's like, oh, it's not as lucrative or as positive as one would think it is. Matthew says they don't get paid to do it.
No, that makes sense.
They stopped paying the performer years ago. Okay, so maybe.
And again, I've said it's the NFL. They have to kind of get a generic, bland person. Like you're not going to get someone who's at all any sort of edgy or controversial. That's not the NFL's brand. They are not going to risk.
Sure.
They're looking for someone, again, like Maroon 5, who is going to go on there, put on a show. The biggest criticism is, I think, remember that year, like, he didn't wear his shirt, and so he had a lot of tattoos. And that's pretty much it, In general, they try to stick with a relatively safe. I think the least safe one they had was Madonna.
Until Janet Jackson didn't want to keep on her shirt, her wardrobe malfunction.
No. Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. We'll blame him. That's a good call. All right. So yeah, enough ranting and raving. Did any other?
Two old men rant about the Super Bowl.
I got to feed the narrative, right?
It's our next podcast.
All right. Ray says, Terry, have you seen YouTubers making compilations of disc golf fails, Nico freakouts, throw-ins using a footage from you and other big producers? I have, and I know there's certain guides and regulations, and I'll get this off my chest, but there's certain guides and regulations and things that are acceptable and not when it comes to YouTube's guidelines. And I feel probably very different than most about this. It somewhat pains me and frustrates the living heck out of me when those get put together. They're essentially grabbing your best or worst or whatever moments. They're putting them together. And then on top of it, I also notice, and maybe this is the sticking point or a sticking point to it, then they're monetizing it. And that feels down to me. This is me as a content producer who works my ass off. It feels like downright, like just in plain sight theft is how it feels to me. Once you've made your own video, you've put up a 20 or 30 or whatever minute, doesn't have to be even that long, maybe a 5-minute amazing piece. Once you've put together a fully edited piece of content on YouTube that's 100% original, that's your own, and then someone else takes either some or all of it, and then also attempts to profit from it, it's as dirty and violated as you can feel digitally. I'm not gonna. Yeah. It sucks.
I would turn them in. I would mark their thing like, hey, that's a theft of my property. I would do it. Because they're clearly seeing there's a market right now for disc golf. There's a market right now there's always a market for highlights, lowlights, fails, whatever. And it's easy content to create. Scrape. There's 6 disc golf websites, YouTube websites that are primarily putting up most of the footage. Go to them, grab it, scrape what you want. throw it in a video, and you don't literally have to do anything other than scrape these shots and drop them and run. So
yeah, and again, I can't. Every single person that is even a semi-professional photographer would likely can quickly relate. And if you really create anything, let's be real. But if you create anything that can be borrowed or stolen and then passed off as their own, and/or money can be made from it, you feel 100% violated. And don't give me the imitation's the greatest form of flattery, like
but
that. Like that's an excuse, yeah, or like that's an excuse to it, or yeah.
Imitation is when everybody basically kind of copied the Joe Mess format as far as like the graphics. Like,
sure,
oh, cool, we're all gonna put this down here and this up there and this over here. That's great. That's imitation. Theft is when they just flat out take your video.
Yeah. And then on top of it, and again, you have the option on YouTube once you get to either certain subscribers and viewers and all this stuff. They ask you to be, if you want to be in their partner program, blah blah blah, which is what enables you essentially to try and then make money on YouTube. Once you meet all these certain thresholds and you abide by all these YouTube community standards. When you monetize that video, and I know that someone is making money, and we'll use the one very specifically by Nico. I know for a fact that there's a ton of mine in there.
Because Nico doesn't like you.
Among other things, yes.
Just kidding. I just want to push that narrative.
But let's just say there's 10 Nico clips in there. 6 of them are mine, maybe 7 or whatever. And I'm just making up round numbers. Maybe there's 10, and if there's 10, at least 6 are mine. Which I'm not going to lie. Some of them I feel like I was really funny at. So I'll pat myself on the back for that. But it still doesn't. It feels dirty. That's all there is to it. It feels absolutely dirty. Now, here's what's even shittier about it. I feel like if I go report this person or this channel that's doing it, I feel like somehow I'm being the bad guy. Like that almost, like, what kind of weird backwards ass pressure is that? I feel like if I go report this person, and I don't know where CCDG stands, I don't know where Joe Mez stands. Everyone has a slightly different stance on this. Some people are like, "Oh, that's no big deal. I don't really care. It's more exposure." Or however you personally feel about it. I'm not saying everybody else has to feel dirty and violated, but I do. I feel like it's scummy, and you should always go with the idea of ask somebody, in this case, ask somebody for their permission rather than for their forgiveness. Don't do something that's totally against rules and or just common courtesy, and then later be like, "Oh, well, dude, you should have told me you didn't like it instead of ranting on your podcast." Nonetheless, you shouldn't have done it in the first place. Like, that's how I feel. I don't know who the YouTube channel creator. I think somebody put it in the chat.
Point me to him. I'll report him every time. In fact, I'll even make a comment. Hey, I reported you. I'm the jerk. I like being the jerk, Terry. It's one of my favorite things.
Okay.
Especially when people deserve it.
Small Bore Outlaws is the name of the channel, and I bet a ton of you guys have seen it. I mean, they're taking a lot of videos from a lot of us content creators, as Johnny just said, and then making their own compilations. And some would say, well, it's generating more excitement for the sport and all that stuff. I get it. If you really want to be helpful, take all those compilations you put together, take them all from one channel, and then offer your service back to that channel and say, "Hey, Terry, I grabbed all these Nico freakouts," as he called them. Would you want me to send you the file and you just pay me or something for being an editor, an additional editor? Like, that's one way you could go about it. But just to put it up on your own channel, I don't know. That's how I feel. And again, if you haven't ever created and taken the time to put something on YouTube, you just simply may not get this yet. But as soon as you post your first video on YouTube that you edited and worked on, you'll probably know how I feel. Does that answer you?
I think that answers the question.
Thanks for getting that trigger ready for me to pull.
Someone triggered you. All right, but you know what I have? I have a disc golf giveaway. You know what I have right here in this box? I don't know. That's the beauty of it.
Oh my gosh! What's in the
box? I don't know. I told you. I literally don't know. You could go to discmember.com and it would probably tell you what's in this box.
Maybe.
It's a thicker box than normal. I can feel it. It feels a little more padded.
Before.
Yeah, so you threw me off there. Anyway, so we're gonna give away that. If you want to be first of all, I'll go start with this. If you want to be eligible for this giveaway, you need to be a supporter at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. If you would like one of those boxes and you know what, don't want to support us for some reason, you can go out and subscribe to Disc Member. And for $25 a month, you get sent a package like that every month with at least $40 worth of goods in it. And you can go that method. Man, that's a surefire way to get one.
Yeah, you don't have to sit here and wait to win it.
Yeah, you don't have to wait until like 12:15 in the morning and hope and cross your fingers and hope you win it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a number between 1 and 199. I did pull in the few people that filled out the form on our website. We were able to get eligible. That was Gordon Johnson and Robert Damon. So Damon, something like that. Terry, I need a number.
TB12.
The 12th number. No. 7.
7. I was just gonna say.
I'll do 7. All
right.
All right. That's for lucky number 7. 7 minutes in heaven. Whatever you want to say. All right. Ready. The first number is 149.
Not Tyler Brickley.
Number 33.
Still not Tyler.
He's still better.
Oh, that might have been him, but he's not getting it.
Number 3 is 182. Number 4 is 109. Number 5 is 73. Number 6 is 174. And our final.
How did you sort them, Johnny?
I sorted them by amount they donate this time. So 1's at the top and 5's at the bottom, or 12's at the bottom. Someone is kind enough to donate $12.
Wow.
A creation.
Here we go. So you have one more
to
click.
generate.
This is it. This is the final click.
188.
Cow.
Right here. Ricky Flock.
Oh, Ricky.
Ricky Flock out of Illinois, Glen Carbon, Illinois. We're going to dox him right now.
Address is.
I don't know if Ricky's won anything recently.
I don't think so.
I know I think I've said the name before. Well, congratulations, Ricky.
Whoa, what the Ricky Flock?
What the Ricky Flock?
You gotta wonder how many times his name's been said quickly and then confused for something else.
Ricky Flock. The last time he won was 2017.
Wow.
April 3rd, 2017.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, our March 28th.
Just in time to claim it on his taxes that year, which I'm sure he did.
Of course.
All winnings to be.
And the reason that I know Ricky's name so frequently and I thought he won was because we send him a lot of stuff because he's such a big Patreon supporter.
Hello.
So he gets like the mini, he gets the clothing, he gets the yearly disc.
The yearly disc. Wow, Ricky.
So congratulations,
we love
Ricky.
you more than most, Ricky.
I love you almost the most.
You too could be loved almost the most if you just
up your Patreon support or just become a Patreon supporter.
Yeah.
So, Ricky, we will get this out to you whenever Terry does that.
Yes. It actually will probably go pretty soon. That's a nice, easy one. I know I remember reaching out to Christina a few weeks ago, and she was quite taken back by the idea that she had won. She didn't know yet. It's like, yes, your disc, that was last month's disc member box, actually had gotten sent out to her, so I know she's got it.
Oh, good. You sent it out to her? She got it?
Yeah.
She took it? Okay. I wasn't sure if she'd want it, so good. I'm glad she got it.
I don't think I gave her a choice. I just said it was coming her way.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I do like how Tyler last week decided to snip the clip of he just had to steal our content so he could he put the clip out there. And Tyler, thanks for being such a great sport. It wasn't that we don't love Tyler, it was just we knew he was looking to pay it forward.
That's right. And we
so
told
another
him
Tyler could win.
He won the right for us to go on one of his podcasts.
Yeah.
And when he wants to cash that in, we're here.
We could be ready. Tim asked if we sent his. Maybe not. Tim, let me double check. Send me a message, probably via Facebook, just to double check, or send me an email. Make sure I have all your right info. I don't have that spreadsheet in front of me, but if anyone is missing anything that you've been previously promised, let me know. We'll get it out to you if I haven't already. I also got a fresh restock. I know we had Paige on earlier. None of this segment of any of this show is brought to you by Discraft, but I did get a restock in Discraft recently. They did have some Avenger SSs in stock, which I know some people might be excited about. Also some Forces and maybe some Buzzes. Some people saw me post last week. Some Discmania Originals have come in to stock. It's funny. It's funny that I can name basically what's in stock these days because it's so few from so many companies that there's just not a lot of things in stock. You rewind a year ago and you'd be like, yeah, that's cool. There's like 3,000 various discs in stock by all the manufacturers. And it's like, yeah, now I can name you the 12.
Mark my words. If you're a big Discmania fanboy, get all the originals you can. I don't think they're long for this world. I think over the next couple of years, probably 2 to 3, Discmania is probably going to start replacing the originals with.
You think so, huh?
I think so. I think they're going to get discs that fit those pretty close to those styles in their new lines and new molds, and I think you're going to see less and less of the originals come out. That's my guess, is that they're gonna go more towards their new lines of plastic, and you're not going to be able to get the older plastic much. Probably too many more years from now.
Yeah, you're the same guy that said, you know what else would be a good investment? Hertz. And they're not such a good investment. I'm just kidding.
I don't think I ever said that.
No, you didn't. But their stock continues to plummet, and it's worth nothing. And it has been for a while. That's all.
Now is when you buy. You short it,
yes,
Terry.
I'm going to.
Hey, listen, Terry, if you and I both buy the stock, we'll drive up the price, and then you can
both
sell.
go out and buy our 500 shares at $1.19 or whatever they're at right now. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
we'll totally short them.
No, Bitcoin is exploding right now.
Well, when Elon talks about it, right? That's all that the world needs.
He literally bought like 1.5
billion. Well, and I mean, prior to doing that, didn't he also made
he was talking about Dogecoin?
Oh, okay, that's what.
Which is kind of like a meme coin, like that nobody uses.
But
yet it shot up in price, and people made a bunch of money on it, and now it's kind of hovering at like 8 cents a coin or something, or 6 or 7. I don't keep track of it. But my quarter Bitcoin is looking nicer and nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 12 grand now. It's just stupid.
Sell
ridiculous.
it now. Sell it.
I thought about it honestly when it took this big jump. I thought,
and just in the last few days.
Yeah, the last few days when it went from like 33,000
up to
up to like 43,000. I thought now's when I drop it because it's probably going to go back down, and I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't because it's just gone up like another. I don't know. I don't know when I'm ever going to get rid of it. That's the problem. Like
isn't that always the problem?
Yeah,
of
like timing the market. I don't know if I can, and I don't even.
And you don't want to let it go.
No. I'm gonna will it to my child.
That's a good idea. Danielle says out on the board, speaking of which, it seems like 2021 will be a catch-up year. First designs from Innova seem pretty basic. They'll be seeing less innovation this year, fewer swirls, halos, or whatever is next. That's a great question.
I bet you see less innovative stuff. I bet you see less trial and error, and I bet you just see a ton of standard plastic come out. Like just your whatever the best sellers are, that's what you're going to get.
Keep hammering on them.
Yeah, they're going to keep, because that's what people want, and they don't have time to catch up. So you're going to see just a ton of, which is why Discraft probably has, they probably have a machine just for the Buzz right now, because it's like the biggest, and the Wasp probably, and just I bet you it's just pumping those out right now.
Yeah, I'm going to go on here saying rumor.
Condors, or
I had heard at one point, like this is genuinely okay. I had heard at one point that there was a machine at Innova that was exclusively, and this was I think years ago even, was exclusively dedicated to making destroyers. Like just runs 24/7 now. There's probably a little bit of fable. That's not the word. A little bit of exaggeration in there, but interesting question for the board. And Johnny, I'll let you chime in on this.
Ooh, I like to chime in on things.
If you had to guess, and this one's for the board too.
What I like to
and now
do.
this is by no means scientific, hence your guess. If you had to guess, what do you feel like is roughly the average length of time it takes to mold a disc? And I'm talking about really from the time that you take one disc out And then from between that and the next time you can take another disc out of the molder, or a machine takes it out of the molder, what do you think that time approximately is? As in, like, how many can get molded in, say, an hour or whatever?
6 minutes
for a disc?
Yeah.
Okay.
Injection mold, let it cool.
Before again.
I don't know.
So you take you either take out or the machine. I know we've seen even some latitude
Nova
ones.
says 30 seconds. Dan Harbour says 2 hours. You've got
quite a range.
Quite a range.
You said 6 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking, like, if one comes out, you take it out, and then the next time you can take another one out is what is kind of what I'm going for. So I'm really excited to see some of the guesses here on the board. Some people probably very close.
Do you know the
clueless. Answer? I can give you an approximate. Yeah, Nova says 30 seconds. Eric says 1 minute. Harbeck says 2 hours. Thomas Lundquist says 2 minutes.
Yeah, I bet you it's closer to. I said 6 minutes, but I bet you it's closer to 2 to 3 minutes.
1.5 hours per disc is Ray's guess. Patrick says 75 seconds. No faster than that. 1 to 2 minutes. 25 seconds. Cody says. 2 minutes for Sam. Sam, don't try and confuse me. Say 120 seconds. I know that's 2 minutes.
No, that's a show on MTV. No, that was 120 minutes. Oh yeah.
Worked in a plant. Oh, Nova. Nova bringing the heat with some insight, saying worked in a plant making plastic butter tubs once. Plant making worked. I'll use different emphasis on that. Worked in a plant making butter tubs once. Cycle time was 30 seconds. Dunno for discs.
Well, plastic butter tubs are probably a little bit less plastic than discs.
I can't believe it's not Frisbees.
Okay. So maybe minute and a half.
Okay. Grip It and Rip It has 4 minutes. Daniel has 53 minutes. A very specific odd time, but maybe not. 2 days.
He's playing Price is Right rules.
So. Yeah. Okay. This is very unscientific and very unofficial, but if you were in the 50 to 70 second range, I think you are most accurate.
Okay, so about a minute.
Give or take. Obviously, I know some manufacturers sound like they're below that, and some sound like they're just above that. From the limited resources and knowledge that I've had about asking this very informal question, give or take a minute, yeah. Which is, now do some math on that for just a moment.
So you can make 60 discs an hour on a machine.
Times 8 days, or 8 hours, if you're running an 8-hour shift. Yeah, 480 discs. And then I think about, as someone who's been buying discs for 20 years from manufacturers, it's not crazy. Midsummer, you run a larger to medium shop. Maybe you run a few tournaments. It's not crazy to buy 500 discs in an order. Right now, you couldn't even get that many if you ordered them. It's not crazy for one shop on one day to purchase 500 discs.
Patrick Lowry nails it. I'm a production supervisor at a disc golf company. 75 seconds is an average.
Oh, Patrick, what the hell do you
Why
know?
are you coming in with knowledge, dude? Like, we're here to guess.
We love it.
Thank you, Patrick. All right, so
at a disc golf company, 75 seconds is an average. Okay, that's... Which one, Patrick?
He's not going to tell us.
Yeah, he should.
He just... I assume he would have told us, rather than saying that at a disc golf company. Of course...
A disc golf company could be a name.
That's true.
Okay, well, there you go. Patrick, thanks for not making me look dumber than usual. It sounds like what I've heard is in that somewhat range.
And I know this is what we talk about a lot, and this is what everybody's talking about. It just feels like if there was a time that you were going to buy another machine and do it, now is the time. You know that the demand is up. I understand these machines
don't know that the demand will sustain.
Correct.
That's clearly that's the wager you have to put down.
We know that at least for the next 3 months, the demand is there. You can easily predict that for 3 months the demand. I think
assuming you have a good mold. I mean, you're talking about an
Correct.
existing company, presumably.
Yep. strike while the iron's hot. That's my thought.
Or while the mold is while the injection is molding, or
And I know it's not as easy to say like to call up your local
yeah. I was just
Staples
going to
and
say
get a machine.
I have heard,
understand that.
and maybe Patrick can chime in. I have heard that you could be anywhere from a 4 to 6 month process to get it ordered, to get it set up, to get it, whatever. So just think, you order today.
And you don't get it until
Order
August.
today your plastic mold injector.
Yeah, nothing comes in. It's finally set up in August, and then your
and demand is leveled.
Yeah.
What are you doing with a $250,000, $500,000 machine?
Yeah, that's tough. I get it. Like it's difficult. Which is why I think that it's going to be very difficult for companies like Discmania and Dynamic, Westside, and all the
people that are manufactured by someone else.
People that are being manufactured by somebody else. I mean, I'm sure you've got contracts and this and that, but
where's the incentive?
Where's the incentive for Innova to turn around and say, "Oh, Infinite, you want whatever mold you want? Cool. We're still catching up. Like we've got destroyers make." I saw Dixon had made a post about like what recommendations would you give to a manufacturer like in order to improve their process, and I think it was Tommy A down in Illinois was like, stop selling directly to the customer. And I was like, why? It was this conversation we had before. Like right now when the demand is highest, if a disc on average costs $5 to make, let's say including labor and all expenses, let's just say $5, rough guess. It might be $3, it might be $6, I don't know. But you can sell it wholesale for $7, or you can sell it retail for $20. And granted, it costs you labor to ship and things like that. So even if you're only making 18 or 17 on that, your profit margin is still big. These manufacturers are just, I'm going to say it, but don't take it for granted, are lining their pockets right now. Like that's what, if I'm a manufacturer and I see that opportunity, like the demand is there. We can't, maybe production is at the peak. You're producing as much as you can. You're running those machines 24 hours a day, seven days a week. You can pump out this many. Why not, as I said, strike when the iron's hot? Why not just milk it for as much as you can right now? And say
F you to your I know, I get it. 100%. You want to F all of your loyal, dedicated middlemen. I understand.
It's all about demand. I mean, and again, they have to
sell
they
out.
Have to fulfill.
I mean, why aren't we? Why isn't Starbucks charging $6 at the height of the Twin Towers crashing and charging $6 for water bottles? F them.
That is different.
Okay. Again, we don't need to. No, we have beat this horse, and I'm as capitalistic as they get. I'm just saying I understand your argument.
Yep. I'm saying they're taking advantage right now of an opportunity. They're not jacking up prices. They're taking the profits opposed to passing them on to, we'll say you, so you can turn around and take more profit. Yeah. And eventually they're not cutting you out yet. They'll eventually get back to you. But right now,
strike while the iron's hot.
And that's the tough part. It's who wants to make the money.
And clearly this has strained relationships, we'll see if there's any long-term fallout. Now, there might not be because of who's holding all the cards. It seems like the manufacturers are. So there might not be a long-term fallout directly or immediately. But if any manufacturer
as I
stomps on their retailers long enough, those retailers might not be interested, and then you can say, well, that's fine. When those retailers go out of business or don't deal with them, there's going to be new retailers because we're growing. That's kind of a shitty way to be a scrupulous business, is to say, we're going to stomp on you because we can right now, and if you survive or not, we don't really care. I mean, so that's the other way to look at it. As much as I understand what you're saying.
I know. We both, again, we've beat this dead horse before, and it does. It sucks for the little person. I get it, and I wouldn't call it unscrupulous. I just call it bottom line. If they're a publicly traded company, it's literally their obligation to try to make as much money as they can. Like, that is your fiduciary responsibility for your stakeholders, for your shareholders, is to...
It's maybe, but not to make as much money as you can at any and all costs.
As long as it's legal for the most part. Like,
Which then still brings in an intrinsic, like it still brings in a feel good.
There is
of yes.
Yep. But
do we love that insurance companies make all of this money?
No.
But yet we feel completely screwed by them day in and day out. Like
nope. And
if you own their stock, yeah.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying they have.
You're just saying what they should do.
I'm saying they
is
have
be
the right.
scrupulous SOBs, whether it's right or wrong. Okay.
No, I'm just saying what they can and
I understand. I hear you.
Yeah, and Matthew says that's a crappy way to run a business. You're right. And that is what you have to weigh as a business. You have to weigh the option like, cool, if you didn't get your discs because Innova is busy fulfilling Dick's Sporting Goods because they are a huge customer and they said, sorry, Terry, we can't get your discs this month, and they keep doing that to you, you'll go somewhere else. That's fine. But do you feel less bad because they sold them to Dick's who's now selling them, or because they're reselling them themselves? Either way, you are personally getting screwed out of this deal.
Sure. Because
right now, like I said, the demand is high. We're assuming that the manufacturers are at capacity as far as what they're producing. You have to make that. They're not letting those machines sit for 10, 12, 14 hours a day and just being like, we don't have the labor. I guarantee you they are at peak capacity right now, and they cannot fulfill all of this. So they're doing right now what makes them the most money, and I can't blame them for that.
Sure.
It sucks for a lot of people because right now you're missing out on the chance to make a lot of money. In theory, to get this and sell. But I can't, again, I can't blame them. I hate it because I would like to see, I'm always a fan of seeing the little guy win. I just understand when the big guy crushes the little guy. I said it before that if they cut out middlemen, I would be like, yeah, that sucks, but if they can make a way more money and grow their business and move, if they look at the long-term plan and they say, well, it's better for us as a company, we'll be able to grow, we'll be able to expand, we can open 3 more manufacturing plants, we can triple our inventory, and we know that demand is going to be there. If we cut out every little man, I have to think like they have to do what's best for their business. And that's how it works. And it sucks. It can suck for little people.
I love all the references people are making to Dick's Sporting Goods, and the chat is auto holding the message because it's taking it as a swear word.
Oh, you should be allowing those then.
No, I have been.
Okay.
But it's pretty funny how it continually comes up within the YouTube chat, and it will not show that message until I approve it, when everyone's just referencing dicks in a very legitimate way.
True way.
Sam Martin says, when did Dick's sponsor an event? There have been a few Dicks that have sponsored events.
There's been more than a few, let me tell you.
I don't want to go sideways with this, but there have been. I think of being an event in, I'm thinking of a Shields actually down in Springfield, Illinois. But anyway, I know Dick's Sporting Goods has sponsored a few events. I know they've hosted Q&A or not Q&A, autograph clinics and things like that. And as we all know, I mean, this is an evil corporate, an evil corporate Dick's conversation or any of the big box stores necessarily. That is one example who is a big, vendor of Innova and Discraft, I believe. And we have seen, I mean, we know that you're going to go into a town and the sporting goods, maybe that seems obvious, the manager of some department of outdoor recreation is going to be like, oh yeah, I play disc golf, and hence that Dick's Sporting Good actually maybe does a ton of stuff for the local disc golf community. And that's cool too. I think that's going to become more and more of a crossover. So it's not like I'm like all evil big box, Dick's Sporting Goods, but.
And as Ryan says that, it's not going to happen, JVD. It doesn't make sense for them to sell direct. The bigger the business gets, if it was that simple, there wouldn't be resellers of anything. No, I agree, but if they cut out Terry, if they cut out all of their privately run ones and just started selling to box stores, let's say, again, the sport gets big enough where now that they can fulfill Dick's, Walmart, Play It Again buys direct. They're doing that, and they say, "Oh, cool. We don't need the little guy anymore."
Yeah, I mean,
that's
That is, in theory, conceivable. And then,
Yeah, I mean,
and then what I think would be interesting, if it ever got to that point, let's just say it gets there, I think you're always going to then have other manufacturers and newcomers to the game that will have a whole new market to then
of course
backfill that need. And that may be an entirely successful business plan for the smaller shops, disc golf manufacturers, to come in and say, oh, hey, we want to work with you directly as a club. And then we'll be like, oh, that's the way it was 10 years ago. But they could come in and could completely dominate and own that side of the market from that perspective easily.
But the one thing I don't agree with Ryan when he says that there'd be no resellers is the reason why, yes, the internet is changing shit. Like that,
for sure.
Like that's how it works. It used to be you had to have a reseller because you couldn't sell direct. There's no way Ford could sell direct to a customer. You would have a dealership. That's not true now. I mean, we see Tesla sells directly, and Ford could do the same thing if it weren't right now. I guarantee you Ford would take it up in a heartbeat if it weren't for a lot of local laws that literally stop that. Tesla is having all sorts of issues. Tesla can't have a sales shop in Wisconsin now or something along those lines? I know there's a few states where they literally can't have a shop because they don't have a middleman. Like the state says, cool, well, yeah, no thanks, because the automotive sellers, I forget the name of the
Midwest Area Dealer Association.
Yeah, like they have so much power, and they say, cool, we don't want that because we don't want to worry about other things. The internet's going to change a lot of things, man, and it's going to. If Innova just thought it would make more sense for them to sell direct to customers from a majority of their stuff, that's a business decision. And again, we've said it before. You can weigh in the pros and cons of it. I'm just saying it could happen. I would be surprised to see it happen, but it could, and I wouldn't be shocked by it.
Yeah, I don't think it will. Also, for the fact that, and Ryan kind of says Tesla isn't a top-selling car; it's boutique. I feel like because can you name 5 other items that are direct to consumer that can only be bought that way?
Not off the top of my head, no.
It's clearly not a more popular business model. When you're talking about,
there's plenty of. Think about your typical like Etsy shop or things that people create and make, and then sell direct to consumer. They're
still boutique, one-off, artsy, craftsy, individual, not mass-produced. Like it's not a widely accepted or probably likely business model. I understand. I don't disagree with you that the internet isn't. They also said, who would ever thought we'd, only be streaming videos, and someone's like, no, I'm going to make 10,000 more DVDs. It sounds like a good idea right now. Correct. So I understand technology changes everything. I just think with the nature of our product, I don't see it going that way. A Tesla,
the sport, it doesn't lend itself to that because we still have things like leagues and stuff like that where people need to fulfill, or they feel like they need to fulfill, discs to league winners and things like that. But customs change, and I honestly, again, I'm playing devil's advocate because I don't think it's going to happen. But I wouldn't be shocked if it did.
Yeah, Tim. If you had an Etsy store, you're grandfathered in, or you get special privileges, you can certainly promote it, or at least put it up on the chat.
Tim's like, I'm just kidding. I don't have one.
Anyway, all right. I don't know if we got anything else for you guys. I think that sounds like we've touched on most stuff. I'll read a few more. Selling direct. Terry can say something about how much it costs to send discs to Europe. Yeah,
expensive.
Yeah, 30. What's the default price? 24 or 35 or 32 something. It's either $24 or $32 basically to send one disc, whether I'm sending to Finland or Germany or Norway or wherever. If you ship just one disc, that's what I want to say it is. It is super pricey. I also do remember, though, when I was in Norway last year, how I'll rephrase it slightly, but Norwegians are not quite as enamored and excited about Tesla brand and technology the way I think a lot of the U.S. is.
Which is funny because I think the guy just kind of said almost the opposite on here.
Yeah.
Tesla is a top-selling car in Norway.
It's top selling, but
and there's a really funny
there's a funny stigma that goes along with that. But go on.
yeah.
Country music's also the most popular music in the U.S. and
Correct. There's the Will Ferrell commercials right now
Mm-hmm.
where he's punching Norway because they're a top-selling EV in general
Mm-hmm.
country, which I find very funny, and maybe Thomas can talk about that a little, or can tell us a little bit more about that in the future. How 20% of their annual budget comes from their oil fund. From Norway, because in the North Sea they hit this huge oil thing many years ago, and so they invested it all, and the government took that, they basically nationalized it, and they invested it, and they own like real estate all over the world with this investment, but like 20% every year of like their national budget I think comes from this oil fund that is worth like $1.4 trillion. So it's really funny to me that like there's this big push right now for how great Norway is, and they are, and they have a lot. I wish we were way more like Norway for a lot of things. But then you see where a lot of their money is coming from oil, and which is not, I'm not making a judgment because there's lots of things other than cars that use oil or burn oil.
Sure.
There's so many things in plastics and stuff like that. And even I read this big article on it recently about how they know it's not a sustainable resource. Which is why they did the investment, and they know someday it's going to run out, and this and that, and which they literally they can't touch it due to certain restrictions and how much they can spend every year, and it's a very cool concept and how it worked out. So
scrolling back up though, I think maybe touching on where I was going with that, Thomas.
Thomas says we hate Tesla owners like BMWs in the UK. I get it, yeah.
So yeah,
but that's the person. I mean, that's a person probably because maybe I don't know, they can't stop talking about their Tesla no matter what you do, and they constantly post about it or something, that they got one, and every time you make a post they like make a comment and somehow bring it around to their Tesla, like, oh look, Paige Pierce had a baby, my baby is this car right here, and they'll talk about it constantly. If I ever get a Tesla, I'm not going to tell anybody for like months.
Good call. Jonas Mackay. Good morning to you, and Thomas. Thanks for the insight. I do. Since there is a couple of seemingly international viewers on right now. I would like to know, every time I send a disc anywhere international, I think there's like 3 or 4 choices that say whether it's a sample, whether it's a gift. I don't know if merchandise is one of the options. Sample, gift, whatever. What should I be marking it as? Like, if I'm sending you a disc, is there something that really benefits or doesn't? And I don't want to really be illegal, even though I'm asking about it right now.
How do I be illegal?
Yeah, I would like to know, though, how should I mark that? And I guess it is kind of interesting. If you're a Patreon winner, is that really technically a sample or a gift, or is it like what is it? I'd like to know, though, someone from outside the U.S., does it matter? Are you taxed according to that? Is there, because that's my impression, is that I don't know if you get to the post office or they keep track of that somehow, but I've been meaning to ask that for a couple of years now. I'd love to know if there's one good way to mark it as opposed to another, because it's always an option for every international shipment. You have to fill out all this. You have to say what's in it, how much does it weigh, all this stuff. And then there's always a separate category that asks you for what it is. So Thomas says we pay sales tax on the value plus a fee. And so then that's the other question is, I think of when I send you a disc, am I doing you a disservice if I put it at $20 as opposed to $10 or $15? Apparently I am. And then is that negligible? I mean, if you're getting a disc and it's a $15 disc here in the U.S., and you're getting it, and well, maybe a better example would be an $18 disc, like a star disc, which is roughly $18 here. 17 or 18. And I just round it to 20. Like, is that costing you way more? Is that a few pennies? Is that, I genuinely don't know. Yeah. Kroners, whatever the case might be. I would love to know what you guys say. Ron Turner says Malaysia is not consistent at all. They try and make me pay for a lot of taxes, but they have a rule here that sporting equipment is exempt. I always have to prove it's a sport when I pick it up from the customs guys. Okay, I believe that. Yeah, try to prove that your disc is truly sport and not like just recreation or backyard tomfoolery. Huh, that's interesting.
I don't know. That's why you send them to a different country and make them drive. Closer are you to the border?
No, if it's a gift and not marked with a price, we do pay. Okay, so for Frederico, who I've sent stuff to, says we do not pay taxes in the EU for sending anything. We pay the normal tax of selling something, normally 19 to 21%, but there are some products with reduced taxes. Wow. But they are aware that people do the gift trick. Well, and again,
so
if you won from us, it kind of is a gift. I mean, you didn't pay for it like directly. If you won via Patreon giveaway, that's at that point, in my opinion, it is really truly a gift. I think there's a gift we keep on giving, but we're gonna call it. We've given enough gifts for the night, folks.
That's right.
It's been a fun night. Speaking of gifts, I need to go out and buy some Double G beef jerky.
Officially, my wife's birthday is tomorrow now.
Ooh-wee. Thursday?
Yes. No, wait, Wednesday, Thursday. Yep.
Oh, man.
The 11th.
It's gonna be a birthday up in here. Thank you so much during the regular show, of course, for Paige Pierce joining us. Great to catch up with her. Thank you guys for joining us in the after show, including all of our great insight, our international
Love the
insight.
International. Well, they wake up and they're like, these two yahoos are still on.
Yeah. They're like, what's worse, hearing the buzzer of your alarm go off or turning on your phone and then us talking?
Maybe we are their alarm. Like they set Google, play Smashbox when I wake up. And then it just like pops up and then they just hear us talk.
Evan, wow. Evan is out here coming in. Are you guys ready for Fountain Hills? One way or another, we'll have to find a way, Evan. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, buddy. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, for all of our gracious Patreon subscribers, we love you guys. We do appreciate all of you guys. You guys keep us doing what we do and giving away stuff, and all of our super chatters tonight, and then some. Again, thank you guys so much, and thank you for subscribing and liking and sharing and doing all of that. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been podcast episode 336. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.